All right, welcome in, everybody. We are here and we are live. Show number 196. This is the Big Time Preview High School Football. We thank everybody for stopping by. We got a roundabout big time show for you guys. We can't wait to get into it. We got Coach Shortt standing by. We got Kevin Moore standing by. There's just plenty to talk about. Dane, hey, we got plenty to do.
Yeah,
tonight.
I'm pretty excited about it. We're getting around the corner. Less than 6 weeks now before the first game.
It ain't gonna be long. Ain't gonna be long at all.
From yesterday, 6 weeks, I think.
Yeah.
So 40 days.
I had Coach O'Brien on earlier and already did a record with him. I will put that out. He had something to go to and couldn't come on it after we went live. So I did get an interview spot with him, about 30-minute spot, and always good to talk to him. So, guys, if you like the show, just go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Dean, how easy is it?
Pretty easy, man. All you got to do is hit it.
Just hit the button.
Really, I'm not trying to be funny. It's ridiculously easy.
All right, come back and hang out with us. All right, then we are back. Welcome into the stream. Kevin Moore on scene, Coach Shortt. Good to see you, men. How are y'all today?
I'm great. How are y'all?
Yes, sir.
Great to be here.
Guys, we got a lot to talk about. We got a few coaches going to call in, and we got a lot of people coming on watching. Jeff Anderson, #1 fan. Hope you're enjoying your shirt, your keychain, and your can cozy that we sent down there to the Carrollton, Georgia area. #1 fan, Jeff Anderson, shares news on the page, and he's got stuff he types in over there. So,
Yeah, he's good.
yeah, we're always excited to see him on here.
He's good.
And let me say this before we get too far. Mason Rule, we all know, the father of Chloe. Little news for Spring Garden basketball. The Caitlin St. Clair from Sandrock and those others will be joining in, Ace and all them, the All-Star Cup stuff. But Caitlin will be playing with Chloe July the 18th at 5 p.m. on Montgomery, Alabama. That is the North-South All-Star game. So shout out to Chloe and all the other Spring Garden girls. Talked to Coach Rat when I went to visit the guys last week one day, and they have been to Mississippi. They have been everywhere, and they have played like some perennial powerhouse teams, and they're winning some of those games.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, they're good. They're good.
Yes, sir. Mason, there you go. I got you a shout out there for the girls. It won't be long. I know we're going to talk about high school football, and it won't be long before that's going to be kicking off here. August let's see. O'Brien told
What
me
is the exact date?
August the 17th. They will be playing Pale City and Albertville there at Coosa at 6 o'clock. It's going to be a half and half.
So it's week 0. Coach Shortt is week 0, August 17th.
No, that would be the next. That'll be a non-region game. That's probably a
talking about. Okay, so when's week 0?
Yeah,
the 24th. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, the 24th and 25th.
All right. Thank you.
And big breaking news before we get too dug in here. What about Wimbignana? Wimbignana's playing out there in this Summer Classic game. Scores, 9 points. He had 8 rebounds, 5 blocks. He was 1 for 3 on threes and 2 for 13. Didn't have a great day, but, I mean, he is very young, so that's the big news this week.
What's he, about 15?
Yeah, that's been the big news this week.
He is 19.
Did you see Brandon Miller get that steal against him?
I did.
He tried to push Brandon Miller out of the lane.
Yeah.
He went ahead and he took it from him. But then he blocks his shot out there when he's about 35 feet from the basket.
Yeah.
He blocked the shot on it. So he got him
I
back.
think that young man will be fine. I don't think they need to. I'm already seeing memes where they're saying trade him.
Good Lord.
He's literally 19.
Well, they expect
just turned 19.
Yeah, then they're comparing him to LeBron, which is not fair. LeBron would run circles around him at the same age, so let's not do that. Let's just let Wimbignana be himself and smack Britney Spears if she keeps pulling on him. Talk him in a she was talking in some British accent.
Oh yeah,
she pulled on him from the back, and he just kind of swatted, didn't really pay attention, and security had to drag her off. So that's kind of crazy.
Well, if they were going to get rid of him, then they wouldn't have given their coach a 5-year, $85 million contract either.
Oh yeah, it was just a meme because he didn't do good in that first game. But like I said, I think he was playing a little bit of pro when he was 15.
Yeah.
I mean, they're hoping he'll pan out, but it may take a couple of years.
All I had to see was him dribble behind his back and between his legs, and he took it to the basket and threw a pass behind his back. He can play.
Yeah.
Yeah. He kind of looks, like most tall guys, he kind of looks a little clumsy, but like you said, Coach, he's young. Let's just chill out. Okay.
He's 7'5", you know.
Yeah. Let's just chill out. So that was kind of breaking news for the week. Our media day will be this coming up Saturday. We're going to try to kick it off around 12. Gales will be on, and then Spring Garden's going to come on. Then we'll take a little break. I think Sandrock will be. Then Cedar Bluff, and we'll finish the day probably about 2 at Easy Street with Cherokee County Warriors. Show 196, Cherokee Eye Clinic, Lloyd's Legal Service, Days Sporting Good and Pond, Jerry Mobley's Concrete Construction, Cherokee Chemical, Justin Ray Bunch, Farmers and Merchants Bank, and also Tony's Pizza and Sub over here in town. Guys, thank you to all those people that helped make Media Day happen and to spread the love around from the Matt and Todd Show to our local people.
That's great.
Yeah, shout out to all those people. So without any further ado, let's just talk about, we all have wrote down 1A, and we can go through that a little bit. And I'll put it up on the screen even because I'm just such a nice guy where everybody else can see it too. 1A, Coach Shortt. Kevin, tell us about 1A semifinals there. We had Leroy, Milry, and Pickens, and Coosa Christian.
Yeah, the surprise for me last year was Milry. That was a surprise for everybody. I think everybody else was not a surprise, but Milry just getting there. And, they actually held their own with Leroy because Leroy didn't score till late in the game to make it 28-11. So that was – I will say this. Milry, if they could have got by that game, would have had a very good opportunity to win it themselves.
Now, they've had good teams before, haven't they, Coach?
Yes, they have. It's just been a couple years since they have.
And I think their quarterback was very good last year. He was,
and that's what happens a lot of time in your 1A, 2A ball. Somebody will ride 1 or 2 players for 3 or 4 years, and you see that a lot of times. Whereas you'll look, the first thing you have to do is like, I'm looking at these scores, but now I'm going to look and see how many seniors did they have. Or in today's game, how many of them have moved somewhere else? That doesn't happen as much in 1A, 2A as it does from 3A on up, but it does happen some. So when you start talking about teams and what they're going to be next year, I have to almost look now and go watch them in a 7-on-7 and say, hey, where's your quarterback coming back? Oh, he's moved. He's gone somewhere else.
Oh, Lord.
That's the thing now. We all know that.
Leroy was absolutely loaded last year. I mean, they seem to be anyway. Of course, they've won several state championships.
Yeah, and the thing about when you look at the Leroy is not only do they win it in football, but they're always competing in basketball, and they always compete in baseball too. They've won state championships in baseball too. Leroy has. So
they're very good in baseball, right?
Oh yes,
Sweetwater
is
too, right?
Yes, that part of the state always has been.
Huh? I forgot about it. Now they're right next to each other.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Ramburn has played those guys before when they were in the state finals before in baseball.
Wow.
And it would be those people, Sweetwater, Leroy, all those Southwest where the dirt is black. That's where those players are at. Thomasville, they've been good. Even though they're not 1A, but that part of the state's always been good in football and baseball.
Well, Leroy's actually had a guy play pro football. That's the size of Cedar Bluff, and they've had a guy, Sammy Coates.
Yeah, played at Auburn.
Played at Auburn.
Steelers played a lot for the Steelers.
Kevin, what about around there, your area there? We was looking at the screen, that other semi game, Pickens County, Coosa Christian. What a game that was. 44-40 was final. Talked to O'Brien, and he's moved on from it. And he said they have not quit working since that day after. They have continued to work, and they're prepared to get back to that, to get another chance at it.
That was an amazing year because I watched their playoff run. Earlier in the second round of playoffs, they beat a Spring Garden team that beat them 27-0 in the regular season. And one thing about Coach O'Brien, he scheduled hard non-region games to prepare them for games like what they faced in the postseason. And like I said, I'm not as familiar with some of the high school rules as I am the college, but every time I look at that touchdown pass, I'm like, or that catch, I'm like, the guy landed at the 1 yard line.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's a heartbreaking, but Coach, he's got them on fire. And I know that was probably their advantage thing for the off season, their strength and conditioning to get better. And I've joked with him before over the last several months. I said, I'm going to pick you guys to get in the 1A title game. And if they keep playing like they do, they could very well get to the semifinal and make it to the championship game in Tuscaloosa.
Well, Pickens, they've won it, and they've just always had a good squad. Pickens.
Oh yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, Pickens County's always been known to play a very physical brand of football with a lot of athletes, from year to year. The thing that I was impressed to hear, and I wanted to hear, so you mentioned it, Matt, was Coosa. That was a very heartbreaking loss. A lot of times when you get to a game like that and you lose, it takes a while to get over it. And I'm not talking about a couple of months. No. A lot of times it can affect a program for years when they have a loss like that. So it's very encouraging to hear that they have gotten over that. They flushed it down the commode and they're working toward the next one. So what that tells me is they must have a good group of juniors and sophomores last year that are leaders, and they want to do whatever it takes to get back. And again, once the season gets going and you get a couple of games in, then you'll start finding out, hey, maybe there was some guys that we didn't even know they're there now, or maybe they've lost one or two. So I know they're excited about the opportunity, but I will say this, they're going to have to work their butts off to get there because to me, they're going to have a pretty good region this year, and they've got some other teams that may have something to say about that.
Yeah, and if y'all want to, people watching, if you want to see the interview, watch that with Coach O'Brien. Like I said earlier, he had a race to go to in Atlanta, so he was kind of traveling and called and said, hey, can we do this, on the fly? And I said, absolutely, man. Just to run down their schedule, if y'all want to look, the 24th, they're going to be on the road. First 3 weeks, they're going to be at Geraldine, at Spring Garden, at Galesville, and then they're going to come home and play Decatur. Then they're going to be the 22nd. They'll be at Coach Hammond, which we're going to talk to him here in just a few minutes. And Decatur Heritage at home. At Valley Head. And then the 29th, he told me about this Heritage Academy. He's out of Mississippi.
I've never.
They
heard of them.
Coach Probst got in to know one of the coaches and the guy that was there, whatever in the story. So they got hooked up to play them. And he told me actually that he wants me to come down and call plays in this game. So if they lose the game, then it'll be my fault. So he's just kidding.
Are they as good as that Gatlinburg Pittman?
Better, he said.
I guess Notre Dame wasn't available.
Yes. Yeah. The 13th, they'll be hosting Cedar Bluff, which Coach Crane, new coach right there. Congrats to him. Then at Appalachian, we talked about them a little bit in depth. Again, go back on YouTube when this is over. I'm going to try to get it posted up tonight. And then they'll be Woodville, and they'll finish at Victory Christian. So, and Appalachian is the team in that region there. They're going to be good, man, because I know my son's senior year, when Marcus and Preston went up there and played them, they beat them pretty good, but they were like a lot of 9th and 10th graders. Now, all that class is mostly seniors. So Appalachian is going to have a great crew, and Coach O'Brien talked candidly about going up there and what it's like to play down there in the bowl. Guys, what do y'all think about some of those games I've mentioned there for Coosa?
Oh, number one, excuse me there, Kevin. I'm so used to just talking.
No,
that number one, Geraldine. To me, that's a game right off the bat that you need to look at and see how well they compete in that game. How they going to compete, how they going to play. And then, the next week is going to be a knockdown drag out when you play Spring Garden. Whoever the coach may be, it's going to be a knockdown drag out type game. And then you have to go the same type of game with Galesville. So to me, then they have Decatur Heritage. I mean, my goodness gracious, that the games they're going to play as far as it's going to be a heck of a schedule. They got to make sure, they got to make sure that they're going to have enough ball players left about Game 7 in order to get through it. And that's always that way in 1A. Injuries, do you have some depth? And I think that's going to be the difference this year between Coosa and what they were last year. Is they're going to probably have a little bit more depth at certain positions.
They are. Everybody on their defense is under a 5 flat. That's what Teddy told me. So they're going to be fast this year. Cleats put on some weight. The Mackey boy, remember all the tackles he had?
Oh, yeah.
He's back.
Yeah.
Okay, and they added the kid from Ragland's going to play defensive end on the other end. So look for Coosa to be they're going to be better this year.
Well, Coach Shortt, I was going to ask you, do you think that the outcome would have – do you think Coosa could have played Leroy better? I mean, Leroy handled Pickens very easily.
Just honestly, it probably would have been the same type of game because Leroy was so much a lot of depth. From what I hear, Leroy only played 5 guys both ways. That's unbelievable in 1A to be able to have that many players playing at the same time. So Leroy had a lot of speed, had a lot of size, and that would have made a lot of difference. You know, you talk about Coosa having a lot of guys that are running under 5 flat. Leroy and those teams out of the South have that every year. So
they got guys on the bench running under 5 flat,
waiting for their chance to play. So the key to it is by playing the game against a team from Mississippi, they're going to have to play a couple of games before you actually get into a finals against people that can run, because you don't want to find yourself after a whole quarter that you're down by 2 touchdowns just because of the speed of the game is so much faster and you got to get used to it. So that is a great ploy for them, playing somebody that'll be a lot faster than them so they can say, hey, guys, this is what we got to do. We got to be fast. We are. You might be the fastest in the world, but you don't – unless you ever have to use it, then you don't know if it can come out. It's like a race car.
Look at the first game. I mean, the first game's up. That's a tough test.
Yes, it will be.
Geraldine there.
Yeah, especially on the physicality side of it.
What do y'all think about the outcome? Todd asked, could Coosa have played Leroy better? With the Milry being a surprise there, was there any surprise to you, Kevin, of Leroy just kind of seeming to dominate against Milry?
Well, like I said, I was kind of surprised because I've always followed the Sweetwater program, and the week before, Milry just destroyed Sweetwater. And to be honest with you, I thought they would beat Leroy, and I totally blew that one. But Leroy they've always got good athletes, and just to be able to do, like I said, like Coach said, just what they were able to do to Pickens County in the championship game, they were just on fire.
What was that final score?
41-6. And they're on the screen. Y'all can highlight it there. Milry, for podcast listeners, 41-6 was the semi there. It beat Sweetwater. Very surprising for me personally. We've all talked about Sweetwater they won their first state title in 77, the year I was born. So they're definitely a dominant program.
The thing you have to watch for somebody in every classification is the teams that have been there before. They're usually the teams that can get there again a lot easier. You have these teams that they come along, and we used to, as coaches, when we went down to our meetings that first Saturday, we would get there and you'd look around, it's the same guys. It's the same teams over and over and over. But every once in a while, you'll have that one-hit wonder. They've got a bunch of seniors that have been good for 3 or 4 years, and they can get there. But what can they do once they get there? That's the key. You have to somehow, unless you're just that much better. That's why if I was betting and when I pick for those guys that have been there before a lot of times, because the experience of being there is just so invaluable, especially playing in the stadiums that they play in now. Back a long time ago, it used to be you would play one year we played T.R. Miller in '94 at T.R. Miller in the state finals. But then the next time I played in the state finals, we were playing in a neutral site in Birmingham at Legion Field. So it has a lot to do. You got to watch those kids when they come in and they walk into an Alabama or Auburn or now UAB and watch them look around. Man, they're just in awe. The teams that have been there don't go through that.
You go from people being able to hear who's screaming stuff at you and not having a clue that anybody's in the stadium probably. Well, really, you're a long ways from them.
Yeah, it's even different for coaches. The coaches are sitting there and he's not used to having to scream bloody murder, and he looks up and you better have a way to, and it's not necessarily their crowds are much better. It's just the stadium is so much larger and the sound starts carrying. You better do a good job of having hand signals to be able to get in all your offensive and defensive formations.
Ryan says over here on the comment section that he said the Miller is going to be loaded again. Only lost a few linemen, so
they got a good quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know his name, obviously. Where is Milry?
In Milry?
Where is that? Is that Mobile County?
Yeah, it's got to be down there somewhere on the branches of Alabama.
Well, another thing, Leroy's always been a 2A for the most part, have they not, Coach?
Yes.
Okay, and then they dropped to 1A. That's not tough for them. I mean, they beat Fife in 2007 when they won it.
Well, you always have to,
it's not the only one they won.
Every year I always watch and try to see like the teams that drop down, and we'll talk about it in a few minutes, like in 4A. Andalusia used to be 5 and they dropped down to 4. A lot of teams, when a team drops down, they have an advantage because they've been playing against bigger and faster people.
Definitely.
Washington County. Thank you, Ryan, for the input.
Washington County.
All right, let's that's kind of 1A stuff. And speaking of 1A, let me go here and let's ring in Coach Hammond. Let's bring him on the air here. Let's see what he's got going on. We'll bring him in. Valley Head coach, Coach Hammond. Look forward to hearing from him here. We'll look at Valley Head's schedule. Talk to him. Hello.
Don't answer.
Hello.
Hey, Coach Hammond, what's going on? It's Matt. Todd, what's up?
Matt, how are you, buddy?
Good, sir. What's going on today?
Oh, just got through eating 2 big hamburgers. Now I feel like I need to go jog, but I'm probably not going to go jog. That's been a while.
Go on, jog down highway, Hammondville Highway there.
Mr. Dean, thanks. Yeah, you'd like to see that, wouldn't you, Mr. Dean?
I just, why I want to come over.
Yeah, we're not going to go into that. We're out of fish and we're out of frogs.
Coach, thank you for spending some time to hit the live show here with us. We got Kevin Moore and Coach Shortt in house with us.
Well, thank y'all. Thank you for calling and thanking of us. You guys cover a wide range of, it reaches out pretty good, and a lot of kids are getting exposure, and a lot of coaches and a lot of programs, and I just appreciate y'all thinking of it.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised. Bo and them goes up there some, and they're spread all over the state now. He's a man with many talents, and I'm gonna try to call him a little bit. They're still gone. I think they may be on their way back, but anyway, when with Ian going on the tear that he went on, we'll go ahead and look at y'all's schedule for next season. But with Ian's tear, I thought, he's amazing. What a good kid, and I talked to him on Instagram some, and nobody was really covering, but when Reggie or Dana would go up there, covering, I thought, why is nobody this DeKalb News, did they not? And I just heard through, rumors and people just say, no, not really.
Yeah.
So I was
it was real quiet with him, and he's a special kid. Of course, once you get to know him, you know that. And he's a grown man that you can trust and shake hands with, and he'll do what he tells you he's going to do. But man, he was, when you get a kid that sprints out on the field for practice, and he sprints in first after practice, and he sprints out for the game. He's the first one in at halftime. He's the first one in at the end of the game, win or lose or draw. They just don't come by much. All of us that's been in this business 20 plus years, you're going to run across a handful, but you'll remember them. And it's just a handful.
That's the kind of guys you want to go to battle with. Those are the kind of kids.
You'd like to have plenty of them, they just don't come around.
Well, it showed in his numbers too. He had 4,900 yards his last 2 years, right, Coach?
Yeah, somewhere around in there. It was real special. I think at one time, don't hold me to it, but he either finished leading the state in all classifications, like 7th nationally, or one time we looked at it, and that's where he was at. And it may have been late in the year. I don't know exactly where he finished up, but he's special. And the deal is, he played quarterback in a single wing look, kind of 2 tight ends, but he wasn't like Tyler. Tyler was special. He was the same type kid.
Right.
And, with me, when I was doing the offense, we dotted the I, and Tyler, there was a couple of nights Tyler carried it like 40 times.
Right.
Ian he everybody had some. Well, Hunter ended up with
12,
15, 1600, 12, whatever it was.
I don't know. I think it was over 12.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. So you had another kid on the same team that had great numbers. So we kind of spread it around a little bit. But yeah, Ian's fun.
Yeah, he's going to be on with Beckett down there at Faulkner's. Going to get signed up, and we're proud of him for all that. So, without Ian, Valley Head's going to look a little bit different. Same fundamentals, and we know how you're going to coach it, and they're going to play old school football. And I had O'Brien on earlier, and he's excited to be over there and get to play you guys. Y'all will be at home to play Coosa Christian. Yeah,
we'll be at home, and it's always my 2 years that we've been here. I love playing them. It's it's a build-up game, and he pokes fun at me. That's going to be our homecoming this year, and of course he gets on me. But I told you, I said, Coach, I want our biggest game to be homecoming. You're always our biggest game.
Right.
But the last 2 years, it's just been really, really good football between two pretty good football teams.
Y'all had a battle last year, didn't you?
Yeah.
Lord, yeah. We went out. I'd have lost every piece of land I've got over here and every dollar in my pocket, which ain't much, but we was watching those kickers warm up before the game, and I said, man, they don't have they've got 4. I said, and they're kicking them over this building. I ain't never seen nothing like it in my life.
Think about kick it to Gadsden City.
Yeah, you just, you got to have some luck down the road. I don't care what you're doing. The ball's got to bounce your way some, no matter how hard you work or what you do. And sometimes you can work every bit that hard, and the ball don't bounce your way. We went, I think, last year going into game 5, we had been behind at halftime all 4 games.
Right.
That's hard to win off. I mean, it's pretty hard to overcome 4 games being down at halftime.
All right, guys, if y'all were stopping by, just kind of pulling into the show, we got Coach Hammond on, head coach Valley Head Tigers up there on the mountain. Coach, again, thank you for coming by. Coach Shortt and Kevin Moore in studio there with us. Guys, what do y'all got for Coach Hammond? Any questions or look at the schedule? Or what's up?
Go ahead, Kevin.
Well, Coach, I just like I said, I kind of started following you guys after your win over Tuscaloosa because I have a couple of friends of mine that played on that '84 state championship team, and they were kind of hoping they were proud. They were sticking out their chest with the Valley Head shirts. But like I said, how do you like I say I guess at a 1A level, or didn't really matter what level, just how do you keep the kids from being or just keep from being complacent?
Yeah.
Well, we really don't talk about complacent much. I got with Coach Lamb years ago and just kind of picked his brain some, and this has been 10, 12 years ago. And he told me, he said, you ain't going to believe this. He said, but we just lift weights in June, and they go play baseball, basketball, go with their family, do whatever. He said, we really don't start football until after 4th of July. He said, and then it's kind of a slow pace. He said, we'll go 3 days. And I said, he said, well, you notice, we always done our 7-on-7 over there. It was in July. He said, we don't do anything in June, Coach, but just lift. He said, that's just a couple of days a week. And, I kind of stole that from him and took it to Chattooga with me when I started over there. And I don't know why, but here at Valley Head too, when November gets here, we have a group of young men that are not ready for football to be over.
Yeah.
I mean, at no point in time do I ever see our kids, and this has been going on 6, 7, 8 years now. I hadn't seen a group of kids like, well, I'm glad I'm moving on. So I'm glad this is over. They really like football. And we try to keep practices short, go an hour and a half, and we don't hang out. I use the terminology all the time. Don't hang out, get out. So as soon as we're done, we don't sit around and eat sandwiches together. They get out and get away from it. So it really works for it. Everybody's got to find their niche that works. And lifting weights and being as big and as strong as we can be, trying to manage the game on Friday nights, along with managing the clock to give ourselves a chance to win at the end, and just trying to stay fresh all year. That seems to work for us.
You mentioned Coach Lamb, Calhoun. That shocked me when you told me that.
Oh, yes, sir.
Because I think everybody's got the impression that it's just football year round. Every day they're throwing 7-on-7.
Todd, if you'll go back and look, we done the same thing at Chattooga, and I know you remember. Mm-hmm. But if you'll go back and look at Coach Lamb's run at Calhoun, mm-hmm. They won in everything. They were the best wrestling team. They were the best basketball team. They were the best cheerleading squad. They were the best baseball team. They were good in everything.
Oh, yeah, they were.
And if you look back at those 6 years there at Chattooga, mm-hmm. We kind of won in everything.
Yes.
And people can relate it to, well, you had a run of good athletes. Well, you don't keep a run of good athletes for 6 years. And by the way, they're the same athletes, you always had.
Right.
And the same thing for Valley Head, So I just think staying fresh, putting all the kids in the weight room. My principal's done a really, really good job with me, Corey Dupree, of allowing us to put all the kids in weights. And so you got the guy playing point guard lifting with a quarterback. And before long, you get things like we'll start, we went through spring with 44 kids.
Right.
They were 65 boys, grades 9 through 12.
Right.
So we about got everybody playing everything.
Coach, this is Coach Shortt. I did it for quite a while myself. My question to you is, first of all, I heard you say you had spring training. So when are you going to start?
Yes,
do you have that extra week, or did you play a game in the spring?
We played a game in the spring. A place like Valleyhead financially is tough. So I've tried to the last 2 years to bring in the best football teams we could for a spring game. And so last year at Valleyhead, we brought in Gordon Lee and Chattooga, made over 20 grand. Our kids seen that, hey, they're not going to eat us. And then this year we played Chattanooga Christian, which is very good, and the Fife Red Devils. So, we made great money again this year. So it really helps our program to be able to have a spring game financially, and for our kids to see that, hey, even though somebody's got 15 state championships, if I'll just go play, maybe I can do something good. Yeah, maybe I did do something good. So, that's kind of the way we take it.
Our number one fan, Jeff Anderson, I got to ask this. He asked Coach, fundamentals, where does it rate at on your list for when you get out there and get after it?
Well, we're not as good as what we need to be. But to me, the weight room is the top. The next would be being fresh, and then fundamentals. So I mean, it's you got to be able to step. If I can get kids to step with the right foot and put their hand in the right place, then we got a chance.
Yeah, fundamentals are always important.
And on top of that, there are also in today's game, there are a lot of fundamentals you actually can teach within the weight room concept of weights, conditioning, training, speed training. There's a lot of things. When you said step with your right foot, a lot of times you got to do that in the weight room. Yeah. So there's a lot of things power-wise.
Put a kid in a squat rack, and if he'll do that 2 days a week and get on chart and go to building, he's going to have some decent power angles if he can parallel squat. Without somebody hitting him or touching him.
And if he can power clean, I was always a big power clean guy. If he can power clean, then he can get down there and block people.
That's right. That's right. It's amazing what the weight room does when it comes fundamentally time to put on pads for practice.
And we probably
about you game one, North Sand Mountain. We'll get in a little bit of schedule there.
Well, last year was the first year we played them, and that they were pretty good last year. I thought. I think they're pretty good every year. Coach Kirby does a great job, and don't know a lot about them. Yeah. Really don't know what they lost. Don't know a lot about them.
I don't know. I know they're all right. Like you said, they're decent every year, but you got them at home, so that's going to be a little bit of advantage. But
there's not a game on the schedule that we can look over. And you like it that way, non-region for us was North Sand section, Outer, and Collins.
That's a pretty tough non-region.
That's pretty good for a little 1A Valley.
Yeah. But, like we talked in the spring, those two who you brought in to play, Fife and that Chattanooga Christian was good now.
Yeah, they're fun to watch.
They were good.
That was do you think that, obviously, the boys seeing that is going to be a plus?
It sure helps the mentality. Because when we watch tape together, every kid on my team done something really good and correct at least once.
Right.
And in their head, they're thinking, man, I just done that again. The Wills kid, he made the last 5 tackles, but he didn't get that one.
Right. So he didn't make that tackle.
Yeah, it builds confidence, it really does.
Well, you're going to be at section and at Decatur now. We don't know a lot about section. We've talked about Decatur a little bit. They're always a team that's banging around that area and that region. They're always going to have the football team.
It will. I mean, those are 3 games that could go either way. Section, Coach Edwards does a great job. I've always thought the world of Riley, and he gets a lot of kids to play. Then we go, and I like the guy over at Decatur Heritage. He's a stand-up man, and
I think he's a new. Is he a new coach? Is that right? I think.
I don't know about
change?
Decatur Heritage.
I don't
know.
I had heard through the grapevine they was, and then I heard they didn't. So I'm not real sure.
I thought they had a good team last year. I thought their quarterback was good.
He was.
I don't know if he's back.
Yeah,
he is back. Quarterback's gone, but running back is back.
Okay.
Running back. He's a stud last year. So
then go ahead.
it's just it's a gauntlet for us. It really
right.
is.
Then you go Coosa Christian, then Adite or at Cedar Bluff.
Yeah, Cedar Bluff's always usually been that perennial team that's always been good in that region. Coach Crane he's going to take over the reins and move from offensive coordinator up sort of to be head coach. So
yes, sir, they'll still be just as good as ever.
They got some athletes.
Yes, sir, always have.
Yeah,
in the 70s, 80s, 90s.
Well, a lot of people say, well, they don't have athletes like they used to, but that don't mean they don't have athletes.
Yeah.
Well, there's not a dean coming through.
I mean, you got to play against Devlin Clifton. We don't have.
Yeah, that's right.
Wow,
That's
There's not many of them.
Coach, let me ask you a question. This is Coach Shortt again. Besides yourself, give me an idea. And I'm going to put you on the spot. And you don't have to answer if you don't want to, because I used to not answer this question to media too. How would you rank your region right now? Let's just say that if you somebody asked you who's going to be the top 4, and we'll go ahead and put you at the top since you're speaking. We'll put you at the top. How would you rank the other ones?
I think you can put us, Coosa Christian.
Yeah.
Yep.
Appalachian. Please don't forget those guys.
They're supposed to be very good.
They've got better since day one.
Mm-hmm.
Really had us on the ropes down there. But you've got to put us. Game. Oh yeah, you got to put us, Appalachian, Coosa Christian, Cedar Bluff, Decatur Heritage, Galesville. Coach Knapp's always going to have something up his sleeve.
Coach Knapp, he'll run that crisscross on you.
Well, he's got Coach Smith over there, so they ain't no telling what they're getting off the lake.
Averages 77 yards to carry that crisscross.
That's right.
So, Coach, what you're telling me is it may be one of those years where somebody good is going to be left out of the playoffs.
Yeah, I think it is. That's a great way to answer it. I think there's going to be a high-quality team this year not make Game 11.
We had talked. We had talked.
Winning record.
Yes, I actually, me and John Holder were talking the other night about this region and said, look, there's going to be a good football team that may be left out of the playoffs, and they might be a football team that's in the playoffs that could be 5-5, and could actually could move up to the third round of the playoffs eventually and be 5-5.
That is correct. You could take a 5-5, 6-4 team out of this region this year. I feel like. And if things come together for them, I think you could look up and say, hey, they're in the quarters.
Well, there's no way around it. Whoever's the fifth team in this region is going to be a pretty good team, and they're not going to make the playoffs. There's no that's 100% guarantee.
Yep. So Woodville, I don't Woodville last year, and I know they've changed coaches.
They did.
But, Lord, they came to us, and if they hadn't fumbled the first 3 drives, they'd been up almost 21-0.
Wow.
Might have been the most improved team in the state.
I thought they was. And then we seen them at the weight meet, and he had 30-something kids there lifting, and I was just really impressed with them.
Yeah, you're going to finish off there, and we're fixing to call him here in just a few minutes. We'll let you get off here. Are you going to be over at the Fighting Willinghams of the Panthers of Collinsville? What about Ernie?
Well, Ernie's – Coach Willingham is I consider one of my best friends in the world, and we've always done a lot of stuff together outside of football, and I take a lot of pride in he still lets me hunt his land. So, I don't go out there and kill all of his deer like some people come get on my property.
We only got 38.
The pond is no bigger than a kiddie pool. But I think Coach Willingham and all their skilled kids are back. They're going to find a few linemen. He does such a great job. Kids love him. They all want to play. He's got plenty of good help. He keeps a great facility. He is Collinsville. Of course, his dad was Collinsville, and the family and John, and they're just they're stand-up guys. I mean, he's going to have a quality team every year.
Him and Teddy do a good job, and I go up there and visit with them last week one day, and they're just getting after it. And I like how Ernie still values that old school coaching, that you can get on to kids and you can hold them to a higher value and try to get the best out of them. And I enjoy that about him.
He still has a burning passion to be with kids.
Yeah, Coach Hammond, if you don't mind me asking, why are y'all having to go to Collinsville again?
We're not. They're coming to us.
Oh, okay.
Typo.
Yeah.
Okay.
We well, hold on just a minute. Don't hold me to that.
That's right. That's right.
No.
No, that's off Max Credits. I don't mean that's right.
Coach Dean, I think I'll have to look at my schedule, but I think we are going to Collinsville.
Okay.
Coach Willingham, it was the end of the 2-year cycle.
Oh, okay.
Basically, and the way his schedule worked, he needed another home game, and I told him I could work mine out. And I think that's the case, but don't hold me to that. Ask Coach Willingham; he'll be able to tell you.
All right,
guys. Do y'all have anything for Coach Hammond?
I'm good.
Okay, Coach Shortt.
Oh no, I've asked 100 questions already. I'm good. I just want to tell you congratulations, Coach, because I know you're going to have another good year. Yeah. And I like the ideas about how you're playing, especially on a 1A schedule. Don't waste time. Don't spend 3 hours when you can do it in an hour and a half.
No, we sure don't. I think we're. I don't know. We practiced past the hour and a half all year last year.
Wow.
We really try to play kids one way and go best on best for 20 minutes and go home.
Sounds good to
That's
me.
gone well for you. I mean,
it's really gone well.
That playing.
A lot of kids wanting to play.
Right.
Yeah. All right, Coach. Again, thank you for your time. Again, everybody, listeners, Coach Hammond, Valley Head Tigers. Coach, what is the 25th at North Sand Mountain? Is that your first game, or y'all gonna have a little?
Yes, sir. 25th at home against North Sand will be our first one.
Yep, y'all go up there and watch them play, man. And it's a great atmosphere to be at, especially when you get over in October. Carry your jacket with you. Go see Coach Hammond and the bunch and aggravate them, and see Coach Jody, poke him a little bit and aggravate him.
Yes, sir. Get it.
Thank you, Coach. We appreciate your time,
Coach.
Well, thank y'all, and have a great evening.
You too.
You too, bud.
Come on.
All right, Coach Hammond, Valley Head Tigers, guys. Y'all good on everything? You need to grab a drink or bathroom breaks? Are everybody okay?
I'm good.
Yeah, we're good.
All right, we'll keep rolling here. Let me.
Bo wants to talk to you.
I know that's what I'm fixing to do. Let's see here.
Where's he at? Miami?
Yeah, he's coming back from some
I mean, he was in
in
Chicago and
Miami?
then he's in Miami. He's been everywhere. When does he work?
Where are they coming back from?
He's
Somewhere in Florida.
I think they're coming back from Florida. Let me call him.
He's been to every stadium and he was it.
He'll say, "Let me hit you back."
Boss Starkey, you're live on the Matt and Todd Show. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. How about you guys?
We are hanging in here. Kevin Moore on the line here, and Coach Shortt also in the room with us. What's going on,
Two
Starkey?
legends.
Yes, sir.
I've been touring the country, man. I'm actually back
Where
in
are you at
Boca Raton now, heading home in the morning.
Okay, so you are south of us. Okay.
A little bit.
Boca Raton. Is that where the FAU's at?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. It's about 3 minutes from where I'm at right now.
Wow.
You were in
Beautiful
IMG the other day, IMG Academy. I saw you visiting there.
I went to jail, but yeah, I was there.
When'd you go there? Did you go on their grounds or something?
Yes, I
Yeah,
did.
almost got in jail.
He just motioned me in.
Yeah.
I guess he thought I was an employee or something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I just went out there taking pictures or whatever. Then their defensive line coach, I'd met him before. I can't remember his name. He come downstairs. He's like, "What's up, man?" I said, "Oh, nothing, man. I was just getting some pictures, looking around." He's like, "Man, you can't let them cats catch you down here." I was like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah, man." He's like, "This is like private property."
Oh.
And
Just tell you no, Josh Hampton.
I can't imagine a prosecutor really attacking somebody on that, though. And won't,
especially when the security waved me in.
yeah, you had a good case.
Yeah, we think
Yeah.
about it. But we've been through 1A, and we're fixing to get into 2A. But we'll backtrack a little bit, and we always like your input because you're the boss in high school football. Runs through average Joes through you and Josh and Reggie, and what a job y'all do. So always hats off to you guys. What do you think about?
Appreciate your kind words.
Absolutely, man. We appreciate you reaching a hand out to us back in the day and bringing us on, and here we are. We couldn't have done it without you. And we love to work together because we work together for the kids.
Yeah,
That's always the goal. What do you think about 1A? Coming back in this year.
I'm gonna be honest with you, man. It's gonna be very interesting. 1A North, especially. There's some teams gotten better. There's some teams with some question marks.
Yep.
1A South will always have a juggernaut. Whether it just change, it just rotates. It seems like they have blue bloods year in year out. They rotate who's good each year.
Sweetwater's, Leroy's.
Sweetwater's, Leroy's, and froze up last year. But 1A North, I mean, it's going to be wide open. But I mean, there's some really good teams right here in this region. In the Northeast.
Well, it's okay. It's my show, bro. You can dig it. We can say the Fighting O'Briens may have a shot at it.
Yeah, I mean, they they've gotten better. I mean, the simple fact, if somebody would have told you, if somebody would have walked up and said, here's a briefcase, 2 years from now, they would have had enough clout, as the younger kids say, that they can go in and hire rush pros. Do you know how you would have got laughed at?
Oh, man. Yeah, no.
Look, you said they nearly made it to the state championship.
Hey, Todd, they would have, well, either one of those two statements, they'd have probably sent the white coats after you to lock you in a padded cell.
Well, they just said you're an idiot and walked off. I mean, whoever.
But, but then you fast forward 2 years, you know, and they hire Rush. They got enough clout and respect, I guess, so to speak, to hire Rush. And even if it was brief, it didn't matter. To hire him, and like Todd said, they're literally inches away from a state championship game last year. It's incredible.
With 2A, and you know, Fife has got to come up, and you've always been close with Coach Benefield, and you used to do the Saturday morning shows with him. And there's always those goofy rumors that, well, they're just going to be, you know, I don't know.
They're only going to be 13-1.
Yeah, then they show up and win the state again. But as of last year, you know, the more question is probably like, what about BB Comer? You know, or can they get back at this thing again, or what?
The thing about BB Comer, there's a couple of question marks. BB Comer has almost every dude back, but almost every coach gone.
Do they have the dude back?
Yes, he's back.
Yes, they do. Yes,
quarterback's back.
Okay, 1,500 yards, 100 tackles. That's what he had last year.
And all their guys are back, minus maybe 2 to 3, but they had 2 or 3 coming up that's going to replace them, and you're not going to notice a big difference. But the big thing is the cupboard was raided with coaches, and they all went right down the road to Sylacauga, out from under Coach Fawcett. So that's – and Coach Shortt will tell you this, Kevin as well, you're only as good as your staff in some situations. I mean, it's going to be interesting.
What's the kid's name that's so good?
Kamari Harris.
Yeah.
Kamari Harris. Yes.
Now, talking about new staffs and stuff, now we got to bring this up, and we'll dabble more into this too. 3A, you know, we know Coach Smith's went over Westbrook. You know, where's Piedmont land with this new? I mean, they got probably the toughest region in the state with Sylvania and Geraldine. They're going to be good. You know, as Coach Miller being a new coach, you know him. You've met him a little bit. You know, what do you think about Piedmont? I mean,
Piedmont's going to be a question mark. From the standpoint is you don't have a Hayes throwing football for the first time in a while. It seems like
7 years, is it?
But now they got the best receiver in Northeast Alabama, did they not?
Yeah, he is very, very good. And all the rumors was
Ishmael.
I think Ishmael Bethel's his name.
He didn't go anywhere.
No, you don't hear the rumors fly. He's going here. He's going there.
Well, he can't now, can he?
He's still there.
I don't know.
Yeah. But Jonathan Miller's a really good coach.
Right.
It's going to be a different type of coaching he's going to have to do now because these kids are entrenched in what they knew with Steve and Coach Blanchard and even Coach Glover and those guys that he had out there. So now Coach Miller's innovative, though. He's a really good football coach. He's a man of few words, but if you get around him and get to talking to him, he's very knowledgeable about the game. He's a really, really good coach. So
my first question for
these guys, it's going to be a different type coach. Coaching he has to do here.
Go ahead, Coach.
Yeah, and they had to, you know, they've changed some coaches too. They, you know, they got to. Even though he's changed, he's had to bring some new coordinators. A lot of guys that were helping out are not there now. But to me, I'm gonna go watch them. They're in a FCA 7-on-7 out at Fort McClellan this coming Tuesday. I'm going to go to that because I just want to see who Piedmont's quarterback's going to be. I think probably, and I may be wrong, Piedmont's 7th and 8th grade team, I will say this, a coach told me that may be one of the better Piedmont teams that they've ever had as far as young kids. That says a lot. Well, they've got a left-handed kid that's an 8th grader that'll be a 9th grader, and people says 9th graders don't start as quarterbacks. I said Hayes did. So both of them. They've had them before. Actually, one started a couple games as an 8th grader. That may be the guy, but I'm going to be interested to see who their quarterback's going to be. And if they signal in plays, it's going to take a while for a kid in Piedmont to get used to having to read signals on the sidelines because they've never done that.
Pinto. I thought Pinto may be their quarterback.
What's the guy? He's got blondish brown hair. He plays basketball, but it's not Pinto. It's I'll think of his name. I've had him on the show before. He's a real good kid.
They got a
Really good
Hanson
athlete.
still, or did he graduate?
I'll think of his name. I could probably
Wait and
pull it
see
up
if it's
on my
not the left-handed kid that was the 8th grader that'll be a freshman next year. That's
That's
their
who we
next
heard.
guy.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
That's what we heard by the QB. Again, guys, if y'all just pulling up here on the page to the Best Dang Sports Show going, we got the boss, Boss Starkey from Average Joe's. He is traveling back. Well, actually, he's not traveling back yet, but he is on the phone here with us. 4A, we'll get to this, and I'll let you get off here. We'll hit some of these that's kind of around close to us. Andalusia, Bo, we seen what they did last year, but I got a little bitty but. Montgomery Catholic is steaming and rolling. Aniana is not going to be bad, and Cherokee County is bringing a lot of guys back. What about that?
Yeah, Andalusia, from top to bottom, they lost some guys. They still have some guys back, but I wouldn't look for them to be as strong.
They got Burnett
Catholic,
back, though, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, they do. On their lines, they lost. Now their best defensive lineman was only a sophomore.
Mm-hmm.
The one that was circled by both Catholic, Juice Johnson circled him, and after watching film, and Rico, I watched film study with him. He circled him as well. He was a sophomore defensive end. He's back. Obviously, he's only a sophomore now. Catholic. I know a little stuff on Catholic. They're going to be loaded again.
Yeah,
I'll just say that. And again, man, it's just tough because it's one of those things. The hurdle. I think it's in their own mind at getting over that semifinal hurdle, or they finally did bust through to get to 5 and was up 16-0 in the state championship game and lost.
Right.
Who fills in for Cobb? I don't. So one of y'all fill me in on that.
No comment right now.
Okay.
Is it what's his name? That Judkins? Oh no, Judkins. He played at Pike Road. Yeah.
Here's another thing. This is what I heard, and I think me and Coach Shortt was rambling about this maybe the other day. Anniston has got some new additions, so let's please not forget about Anniston. And Jacksonville's going to be good.
Anniston lost a lot, though.
4,
but they
got 5 that transferred out, but they do have the best, probably top 5 corner in the state. 100% sure still. But
I'll tell you this, Bo,
and a couple others.
The backup running back at Oxford, actually backup. He had to play a lot last year after an injury. He's transferred to Anniston. The quarterback at Sachs last year is transferred to Anniston.
Yeah.
Running back from another 5A school in Calhoun County has moved to Anniston. I won't even say the name of the school. I'll just say he's moved. Anniston's still got a chance. Let me tell you what, and I'll say this. I don't mind saying it. Anniston has hired probably the best offensive coordinator they've ever had.
Wow.
Ever.
So look for them to be right back.
A very high disciplinary guy. He's been a head coach before at Bullitt County. He was in Georgia. He's been around state championships. They got a guy that'll know exactly what's going on and what they're doing, and he's excited. He's told me he's real excited. Yeah. And you look at their like last year's games, Andalusia and Anniston. And I won't go no farther, but that could have went either way, just like Hanley and Montgomery Catholic could have went either way.
Great game.
And Hanley's excited about their year.
It was 29-26 Andalusia over Montgomery Catholic. That game went down. Bo, weren't you at that game?
Brick Boy was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now they run a punt back, right? No.
Yes.
You talking about the Anniston game?
Andalusia did to beat them.
Yeah. After going on fourth down, going for it inside your own 20 like 3 times.
Wow. So we watched Anniston
game.
I'll stop that one. Yeah.
Piedmont come back on Anniston last year.
Yeah.
Big time.
Everybody came back on Anniston.
They did that bad. They were bad about that. Matt left that game and called me, and I'm like, dude, you better go back because they're coming back.
What about I wouldn't be a good sports guy here for Cherokee County if I didn't mention our local 4A team. Cherokee County.
They're fixing to put some people. They're fixing to put some people in the meat grinder. They're just
the only thing I worry. This is all I worry about. This is all I worry about, Bo. One thing.
Quarterback?
No. They're gonna have 2 to pick from.
Gotcha.
They're not gonna sneak up on people anymore.
Oh no, that's over.
Coach Kelly has put his thumb down and said, "Here's how we're gonna play football. We're gonna run it right at you. If you don't like it, oh well, get over it because we're coming."
When he went to that straight downhill against Etowah, I think that's when they found their identity.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's ever going to go away from that. First of all, I mean, I ain't trying to say this to be mean. I'm just being nice. I don't know if anybody in North 4A can stop them from doing that.
Yeah.
And I'm not taking a shot at nobody. I'm not talking negatively, but I mean, you tell me somebody that's going to line up and completely shut down what they have in that backfield from a running standpoint.
Well, you got Corneo and Diamond. I figure
That's
Diamond will get a lot more carries.
That'd be Q-Sean. That's kind of.
Hey, how would you like for Cornejo to come jogging to the sidelines to get his breath?
Yeah.
And you just rolled Diamond out there.
Well, that's what
his size, weight.
Oh, I know.
Running behind his pad. Wouldn't that be fun?
There's another one though.
He says there's another one. That's going.
And I ain't gonna say no.
Oh,
I want to let it be a secret.
The one I seen in the weight room that day, Matt.
He's a smaller guy, but he's super fast. He's very quick. Because Tay played on defensive end. I don't know who's going to be able to deal with him. All the offensive line between Gaylor and Hernandez, Cooper, Landon Ransom, all them guys are back. They're changing their center. They're changing their quarterback. Now, some of their skill guys, you're going to miss Kid Lighton and Jack Hayes. He just brings a different energy to the team. He's going to be different. It's going to be different without Jack. Yeah, but, guys, they brought Turner in. He's come over. He moved in. It's going to be different.
Well, that's the question.
People on a meat grinder.
You got a 2,600-yard back, and you had 2 600-yard backs. Is there a two of the threes back?
Yeah. Do
they have somebody that can? They got that third back that can get 600 yards.
I'm just saying.
Probably.
It'll be. I ain't gonna say who because I want it to be a surprise too.
Right.
Here's my question. I've got a question.
Yes.
I got a question.
Ask Kevin something.
For y'all guys, I got a question. Do they have the quarterback and receiver that can make a difference in a state championship game against the type of people we just talked about, the Anistons, the Andalusias, the Catholics, and all them people that are going to have great athletes? Do they have a quarterback and a receiver that can make it big a difference? Because you're going to be able to not just line up and run the football with some of those guys.
I'll be honest, I don't even know who the receivers will be.
Yeah.
That's why I was asking that, because we should know if there's that kind of guy. If there's a dog out there, as Bo would call him, is there that kind of guy out there and a quarterback that can make those kind of throws to win you a state championship?
It remains to be seen.
Here's the answer to that. This is my opinion. For the way he likes to play and just being around that program, he's going to try to throw it, son, to keep you honest. But they're kind of he likes to run the ball and he wants to control the line of scrimmage. So they're going to try to scheme to run, but also throw little quick plays, little 2-step drops and those kind of things. So I don't know. That is a good question, but I think the way the style that he wants to play, and when they get down there to ready to play another team, the question is going to be what we seen last year at Auburn. Can they control the line of scrimmage? And Andalusia said, no, we are going to control it. They're just huge, 6'6", 300 pounds. What a bunch of dogs they are, man. They got
scary. Aniston manhandled them.
Yeah.
Catholic manhandled them in the first game. I was at the Catholic Andalusia game. Yeah. I got 2 statements and a question for Kevin real quick.
All right.
First statement is X factor. Hanley's going to be really good again. They're always good. You might as well get ready for that. Anytime Coach String's there, you get ready because they're going to be good.
Yeah.
That's a team to watch out for. A big question mark is Etowah. They lost a ton.
Yeah.
But they got Jamison Sism at quarterback now, but you take him away from receiving the ball.
Okay. Yeah, they moved him. They moved
him. So Sism's going to be a quarterback and running backs up for grabs. Right now they have Trey Woods that was at Coosa transferred over.
Okay.
He's going to be running the ball some. That's going to be an X factor. They lost a ton on defense too, so they're a question mark. Got to get some questions answered, which they can do. This is Atala. They always got good football players, and they got a good head coach and Matt. But my question's for Kevin.
Yeah,
Kevin's going to know this. Kevin, you hear me?
Yeah.
Kevin.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Kevin, what does Aniana have back besides fluff? And what are they going to look like?
Well, not a whole lot. I know they've had another top wide receiver has. I'll just say he's playing somewhere else. I'm not going to say where. They've had several. They had a big graduating class. So, and one of their quarterbacks has transferred. So they don't have depth at quarterback like they think they have. And I'll be honest with you, I was looking at their schedule last week. I see 4 losses on that schedule if they don't get things straightened out pretty quick.
Wow. Well, let me ask y'all a question. What's the problem over there? I mean, they're only the second best team in the North with a 3,000-yard back. Why are people bailing out of there? I don't get it.
I don't understand it.
I mean, it's not like it's the school on that movie Wildcats with Goldie Hawn in it. Why are people leaving that place? Why is Fluff and Shop? I don't even want to talk about it.
And they're not leaving for Thompson or Hoovers. They're leaving for teams in the same county.
I don't understand it.
We don't know. We don't.
Are the
we ain't
teams
got nobody
located
know.
on 411? Yes or no?
Bo, that's a good one.
What did he say? Repeat that.
There's a couple of teams on 411 now.
Oh,
We don't know.
Yeah,
We don't-
and there's one that's not quite on 411, but they're fixing to take a lot of players from 411.
exactly.
That's all I'll say.
But my only question to y'all was, I understand players leaving schools. I just don't understand why a player would leave Aniana.
Yeah.
Hey,
I don't
if
know.
you've ever been over there and you've seen their facilities, I think this is me. I've been around. I've seen a lot of them.
Right.
I think they have the prettiest field.
They do.
Yeah.
Their
absolutely.
turf is the prettiest turf I've seen.
Yeah.
Phil Phillips is a multi-time state winning coach.
Yep.
And a great coach and a great motivator. And their facilities is really nice. Their weight room's nice. Their locker room's nice. I don't understand it either.
It's like a 6A.
I'm gonna
Any
give you
parents
a
home
hint.
watching? Y'all are free to answer.
Give us a hint there.
I
I'm
think
gonna give
Brandon
you a
Taylor or
hint.
some of those guys.
It's getting harder and harder to be, and Coach Phillips, love him to death, to be a hard-nosed, very disciplined football coach. It's getting harder and harder to do it because you put your thumb on them and you push some of these guys around, and
with this, I can leave.
now I'll just leave and go somewhere else. And they may find out it's the same way over there because the grass is not always green on the other side. Sometimes that grass may be growing on top of a septic tank.
Well, I mean, it was just, I was actually serious when I asked that question because, I mean,
It's
they
a
got a
good
very
question.
good program. Very good
Hey, I
program.
want to hear Kevin's thoughts on it. Kevin, what are your thoughts on that? You're around them more.
Well, I agree with Coach Shortt. I mean, it's like it's just in the time for. I mean, back when I was coming up in high school, if you got in trouble with the coach, he either ran you till you passed out, or you didn't do wrong out of fear. And now some of these kids, are just if they don't like what they're hearing, they're out of there.
They run to the dressing room and get in the car and leave and don't come back.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing.
Hey, Bo, I got something for you. I'm gonna give you some breaking news, but it's not broken. It might not, but it's about 95% sure it will, and you may already have an idea.
Okay.
And it's South Alabama. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right. Keep your eyes on 4A Baldwin County, a 4A school in Baldwin County, very close to where the water hits the shore, on what may happen this week.
Baldwin County.
Orange Beach.
All right.
Orange
Keep
Beach.
your, Keep your eyes on Orange Beach this week. This week, keep your eyes out there, and then you can say that I told you. No, we're not. Yeah, that's still an argument over who's going to get the bridge. I mean, that's between Gulf Shores and Orange Beach on who can get the most players. But
does he have the same
keep an
name
eye
as
on it.
Former Alabama coach.
Just keep an eye on it.
Breaking news. That's why you hit the subscribe button, people.
I think he does have the same name as a former Alabama.
Well, what about the Jacksonville Golden Eagles, guys? How good are they going to be?
I think
they got the best. They may have the best.
One of the best quarterbacks around.
One of the best quarterbacks. I ain't gonna say he's the best. He's definitely one of the best quarterbacks in Northeast Alabama.
Yeah.
Okay.
Me and Bo stood side by side.
I don't want to disrespect anybody, but he would be in the conversation.
Yeah, I agree.
He will be the old. He'll be the old. Look, there's two quarterbacks in our area. From where y'all are at and where me and Bo and standing at, and me and Bo watched them both. Both quarterbacks.
That's correct.
Mims from Oxford and the kid from Jacksonville. I mean,
that's correct.
They both can hit pie pans at 40 yards. They both can make the same type of throws. One's a little bit bigger because he's a year older. That's the only difference.
Yep.
Is this it for Ogles?
Yes, this is his senior year.
Okay.
Yes, he's a senior this year. And you can tell it by watching him because he gets back there and he knows where everybody's supposed to be, where everybody's supposed to go. The only thing for them is they're in the South. They're not in the North. And they can be if they were in the North, if they were in the North, they could line up, with all the other teams. They could line up with Cherokee County, Anniston could, Handley could, but they're not in the North, so you can't deal with that. That'll be back.
Yeah, I watched them. I watched them lose to had to play Catholic last year.
Yeah, and actually they had a chance. I mean, that was not just a blow them out game.
They played their tails off in that game, I thought.
Yeah, they just didn't have enough. They didn't have enough people. They don't have enough depth.
Hey, I have a trivia question for Mr. Bo.
Go ahead.
The team that Coach Shortt just mentioned, the Orange Beach, the head coach for there, guess where he used to coach at?
Yeah.
Let me guess.
Where you want to start at?
Yeah.
Which time?
He was offensive coordinator back in the early 2000s. He was another one of those coaches that comes in, stays a while, then gets on and moves on to bigger things.
Yeah.
Asheville is the mother lode of all coaches' trees. He can't break it yet, can you, Coach Shortt?
Back to Ogles for just a second, guys. Matt saw him play 2 years ago, and they were unstoppable.
Oh, yeah. There's nobody going to do nothing with him.
Who?
But we don't want to hold you up no more.
No,
I got to call. I got to call Ernie. We got to get him on and break down some calls.
Willingham?
Yes,
Man, the dude, the legend.
He's great.
He is, and we just had Coach
tell him
on.
I said hello, and I'll be seeing him soon. I should be home tomorrow by 2, and I'm fixing to look like they're gonna think I'm a madman. I'm gonna be working so hard for the next
I'm gonna be out this week visiting around. Holler at me when you get back, please.
Hey, Short, are you going to the Hoover 7-on-7?
I hadn't made up my mind. I asked, I was talking to Enterprise, those guys yesterday, but they just got back from an FCA event over in Europe, in Germany.
I got you.
So I just have to see.
Wow.
I've got a bunch of 7-on-7s to go. I'm going to FCA 7-on-7.
Let me know if you do. I'm gonna go hit that one.
Are you going to that one?
Yeah, I'm going down. I'm gonna hit a few of them up. See, just let me know, buddy.
Okay, I'll let you know.
Appreciate you guys having me on. Also,
Yeah, Bo, you're the man. We appreciate you. Holler at me when you get back. We'll find
I'll
something.
see y'all very soon. I'll call you tomorrow on my way.
See you, Bo.
Okay.
All right, see y'all.
Okay, that was Bo Starkey from Average Joe's. Living on an island down there, living and just walking around in a grass skirt, his coconuts over his chest there, is having some nice sweet tea and some fish caught right out of the sea in front of his little chalet there.
He's done nothing but eat for 2 weeks, and he don't gain a pound.
He's probably eating some good food.
Yeah, he had
he's healthy.
Someplace down there. He showed some pictures of where they had went and done something. But we appreciate Bo for stopping by, and everybody. If high school football, Alabama, John Holder's the GOAT and Coach Shortt, and they do a great show. And you can find Kevin on Facebook, Kevin's Corner. What days are you on, Kevin? When are you going to be here?
Right now, it's supposed to be on Thursdays during the fall. I've had a couple schedule conflicts. I'm not 100, but right now, I plan on doing it on Thursdays.
Yeah, find Kevin on Kevin's Corner on his Facebook page, and he gets on there and look. He don't slack up. Now, if you go in there and talk some smack, Kevin will give it back, and he'll smack you with it, and he'll just make a pick, and he'll tell you if you don't like it, you just get off the page. He really don't care.
Right.
That's what we love
Well,
about
they get
Kevin.
mad at you, Kevin?
Oh yeah.
Do I now?
I've seen
They get mad at you for picking against them?
Most of it's buddies just giving me a hard time. But hey, but I've had a couple that like when I miss a game, they like to give it to him. But hey, I can dish it just like I can. I take it just like I can dish it. So it's all in fun.
But there's nothing wrong with making predictions. That's what people got to realize.
Yeah, we're just guessing. Just an educated guess.
It's not
Let's call Ernie and see what's up. It's 7:00. He may be fixed. He's trying to go to bed. Let's call Ernie, see what's going on.
Got to be up at 6 o'clock in the morning lifting weights.
Yeah, he will too.
Coach Shortt, did y'all lift in the afternoon? Oh, I'll ask in a minute.
I had done them both.
Hello.
Coach Willingham, this is Matt and Todd from the show live, sir. How you doing today, Coach?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Man, we're hanging in there. Is everything going good for you this evening?
It's going pretty good.
Good. Coach Shortt is on with us, and Kevin Moore, he's also hanging around here on the page with us, and we're just going to let you talk about the kids, and we'll dig around in the schedule a little bit, and tell us how your summer's been going so far.
Well, we're just now getting started. Really, we did basketball and baseball most of June, but we do workouts every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday from 5 to 8, and everybody's been showing up. We've got good crowds up there, and everybody's doing good so far. Good.
Again, Coach Willingham, Collinsville Panthers up there. If anybody is Collinsville, it's Coach Willingham. He is Collinsville. He's just, it's in his blood, and I know that everybody up there loves him and appreciates him. Coach, the 25th, you're going to be Pleasant Valley. You're going to have them come over to your house. Tell us about that game.
Well, we've played them the last few years. Coach Nix and I go back a little bit, and it's a good game for us. We don't see them any other time. Well, they put them in our baseball area now, but it's just a good game for us to open up with. They're real physical, big and physical, and a lot of the teams we play kind of play like that. So,
that game, I thought that was does that game count? Because I got 11 on this schedule.
No, that's a fall.
That's a fall jamboree. Okay, never mind.
We play it like a real game. We play the first half.
Right.
We do all the kicking and everything live.
Yeah.
The first half, and then the second half we play mostly JV,
JV,
even JV and some junior high kids too in the second half, and we play the kicks dead in the second half. But the first half is just like a real game.
Yeah, coaches, Coach Shortt or Kevin, what do y'all got to add here? What y'all looking at schedule here for Coach Willingham?
Go ahead, Kevin.
Well, first of all, I guess like I was comparing earlier, I don't guess Notre Dame was available because you've got Galesville, you got Pisgah, Sandrock, Fife, North San Mountain Valley Head. That's a great schedule, and like I said, just with Collinsville, you guys have great tradition. And I'll say this: I've seen pictures of you got one of the nicest looking stadiums around for a 2A school.
Yeah.
But like I said, what are you kind of preparations have you guys done to make this to get these guys tougher for this upcoming season?
Well, we've been hitting the weights pretty good, and the way we do our workouts in the summer, we get there at 5 o'clock and we go out on the field. And we do some active stretch stuff and speed drills and a little bit of light conditioning. And we go back into the weight room. That's after about 30 minutes. We stay in there about an hour in the weight room. And then we put our helmet and cleats come back on, and we come back out and we do position drills and all that kind of stuff. We do a little 7-on-7 against ourselves almost every day, and some offensive groups and defensive groups, and then at the end we condition. So we're trying to get ready for everybody would play. Our schedule, like you said, our schedule is tough. We moved down last year. We moved down from 3A to 2A, and everybody thought that was going to be easier. But those guys are really, really good. And you picked up on the Galesville thing. That's an addition. We didn't play them last year. We played Crossville in that opening game.
Right.
Okay.
And Crossville has dropped their varsity program this year for lack of participation.
Really?
They're going to play a junior high schedule, and they're on our junior high schedule, and they're going to play a JV schedule, and we're not playing them in JV. But Galesville had an open date that same week that we did, so Coach Knapp agreed to play us, and it'll be at their place. So it'll be a good game for us and them both.
Well, Coach, I noticed your region's not real tough. That's a joke. It looks like the NFC North. I mean, what is this?
Good Lord, Ernie, what are you doing over there?
You could go 9-1 and finish third in the region. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I tell you, we talk about getting ready to play. We could have a really good football team and win half our games.
Yes.
Everybody is really, really good. Five is out of sight. They lost a few linemen, but the running back that tore his ACL up.
Right.
He's back 100. He's been back 100%. He didn't play in the spring, but he's back 100%. And he's a good running back, but he plays safety also. He'll cut you in half from safety when he comes up. But they're going to be really good again. Pisgah's going to be really good again. North Sun Mountain is going to be really good again. And I'm not going to name everybody on our schedule.
Right.
Everybody. You have to be ready to play every single week with the schedule we got.
Well, I was just mostly looking at Fife and Pisgah, and I know they're just Pisgah has most of their players back, right?
So does Fife.
Yeah.
And so do we.
Yeah. Right. I know. Well, tell us about
we lost 5 players that started. 3 of them started 2 ways. We're really going to miss Keaton DeBoard.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Obviously, he had a super season. Moved from quarterback to running back, but that allowed us to use him in a lot of different ways. And,
he was good.
You have a little kid from North Alabama that's one of the first team All-State running backs. He had a phenomenal year, and he did. And he's going to play in college next year. And Jordan Coker, he started 2 ways for us, and we're really, really going to miss him on the line. Him and Aiden Daniel, we lost 2 linemen, Jordan Coker and Aiden Daniel. And I was just looking through my roster the other day. We had 10 other offensive and defensive linemen together that played when it mattered.
Right.
So we've got 10. We've got 10 offensive linemen coming back and defensive linemen.
Wow.
So they played a lot. So we think we're going to have some depth there, and hope we gain a little strength. But in the backfield, we lost
DeBoard.
We lost DeBoard, but we also lost Trevor Terrell and Fernando Padilla.
He was pretty good.
Yeah, he was a good player. He started for me for 3 or 4 years. And Terrell, Terrell didn't start on offense, but he started middle linebacker, and we're really going to miss those guys. But we had a lot of young guys that played a lot. We're going to miss those guys, but there was only 5 of them. So, we've got a lot of kids coming back. Got Mason McAteer coming back at quarterback. He had a great year for us last year.
He did.
That allowed us to move Keaton. Him being able to play as an 8th grader allowed us to play Keaton everywhere else we played. And, he had a great year. I'm not going to go over all his stats, but he threw 18 touchdowns and like 3 interceptions as an 8th grader.
No, we saw him play. He was pretty impressive.
He's a good player.
Pretty impressive.
And he's gotten bigger and stronger.
And the Lang boys
that
impressive.
class has got some more guys. Kyler Bain got a lot of reps at running back last year, and he's an 8th grader, and he's put on about 25 pounds. He'll be a 9th grader this year, but he looks really good. Gavin Lang.
He's good.
Yeah, he's a receiver, but Gavin and Kyler, the 2 I just named, they started at safety also.
Right.
They're going to start on offense.
But
they started 2 ways as 8th graders. And
go ahead, Coach Shortt. What you got?
Yeah, Coach, this is Coach Shortt. I was at Cleveland County a long time. You kind of answered my question, but I'm going to go ahead and answer it because I heard you talk about a quarterback. I coached in 4A and 5A for 35 years. And this past year, I started working with John Holder, so I go out and watch a lot of people play, go watch practices. I got to watch my first 1A football game / 2A football game. My question for you is your team and the region that you're playing in. I always say this for 3A, 4A, 5A, 6A. You got to have a quarterback that can deliver and make things happen for you. And I know even when you're running the football, there's at times when you got play action passing, and that guy's got to be able to make those plays. Who besides y'all, who's got quarterbacks in your region that can actually come up and make those plays in the passing game off of play action?
Dude, everybody's got a quarterback. Everybody's got their quarterback back. Five's quarterback is outstanding. Pisgah's quarterback is outstanding. I feel like our little young quarterback's outstanding. Everybody we play has got their quarterbacks back. So
are they all dual threat type guys?
Yeah, well, Five uses theirs. Five don't throw it much. They can.
Yeah, I know how they use theirs, but they can.
That kid's got a cannon for him. He throws the baseball 95 miles an hour. So you can imagine.
Five may open it up this year.
Well,
yeah, they'll throw it 4 times.
Last year they didn't throw it much, but they can.
Right.
Obviously, right. And Pisgah does sling it around. Mm-hmm. And we try to be as balanced as we can. Throwing and passing. Sometimes people load the box on you and you have to throw it, but we hope to be pretty balanced. So. Yeah. And our little quarterback can run. Yeah, he threw for 1,400 yards, but he also ran for about 750.
Mm-hmm.
So, we didn't use him as much last year because, when it didn't matter, we didn't run him much because, of his age and size and stuff. So,
right.
Now you're going to end up there in November. You're going to have Coach Hammond come over, and we just got off the phone with him a few minutes ago, and he spoke highly of you, says that, not just coaching friends, but off the field friends too. And he couldn't say a lot of bad stuff about you, or you may kick him off your hunting land. So he had to kind of be nice about what he was saying because he likes killing deer up there.
He said he didn't want to kill all your big deer.
Yeah, that's what was so. We didn't say it though.
You might as well kill him. I just watch him. I reckon I just watch him. I don't ever kill one.
Tell us about that rival there. You and Coach Sam Collinsville Valley Head to end the season there. It's going to probably be a nice little cool game. Be up there at Collinsville. Tell us about that game. How y'all match up?
I tell you what, he's got a good thing coming back. He lost a couple of good running backs.
Yeah, he did.
The Robinson kid and the Bank kid, were just outstanding. But we had a knockdown drag out with them last year. Yeah. Up here.
That was a great game. I was there.
That was a great game. If we jumped out on just a little bit early, and then we scored a couple of quick touchdowns. One right before the half, and then one in the third quarter that were just one play, big shot plays. But he does a good job of what he does, and he's just going to be hard to stop. And I know he's going to be good again. He always keeps them big and strong. They're good in the weight room. We do weight meets with him every once in a while. He'll bring his kids up and we'll lift weights against each other and keep score just like a weight meet, but it'll just be us against them. And
Did you say you had a 1-play drive on that in that game? Because I went to the bathroom to wash my hands and y'all scored.
We had 2 1-play drives. They scored right before the half to cut it to. We were ahead 13.
Y'all got it with like 16 seconds left, right?
Nah, it was about a minute, but we scored in 16 seconds.
Okay.
But they scored with about a minute. They scored with about a minute. That we were ahead 13-0. And they scored with about a minute, cut it to 13, then went for 2 and got it, made it 13-8.
Right.
And then kicked off to us. And then he put an all-out blitz on the first play, and brought his safeties up, and they were playing bump and run. And Keaton, we split Keaton out. We put him out of the backfield with no backs, and he was matched up with the linebacker. But Mason that was a big league play for a little quarterback, Mason McAdoo too, because he had to sit in the pocket. He got hit hard on that play.
Well,
but he had to hold it. He got in the pocket and he stepped up and he held it. And Keaton still wasn't clear, and he held it some more, and then he finally cleared, and he let the ball go about the time he got murdered.
Yes.
And he knew Keaton caught it, but he didn't know he scored. But that was a 1-play drive right before the half.
Yeah. I said, I'll go run in here and wash my hands right quick. Coach Willingham and them will probably just sit on it and go into the half because I think y'all had the ball first.
Well, we would have. We probably would have.
And I come back out, and it's like it's 20-8. I'm like, what?
That was a check.
That was a
check at the line.
Oh, you didn't call that. Right.
That was probably I consider that the game changing play. And Boss Starkey says tell you hi, and he's going to come up and see you pretty soon. We got off the phone with him earlier, and he's on here watching. He asked Coach about the loss of Keaton aboard and how will you replace him?
Well, you can't replace him with one person.
Yeah.
You know, we're going to try to take a little slack here and there, you know, with everybody, but you know, we'll just have to have. Some of those young guys are going to really step up.
Right.
You know, I just named a few of them.
Yeah.
Also, we got Titan Morgan, but did get played hurt. He hurt his ACL about halfway through the season. He's a really good player for us, and he's the reason that Gavin and the Line kid and the Bean kid had to play safety all year because he was a defensive back, and he started for me for a couple of years, but he's back, and you know, he's pretty dangerous too. He's always played defense, but he's a good receiver, you know, and we can use him back there, and you know, we're going to move some people around. You know, somebody that may be surprised. A couple of people that run the ball this year, they hadn't seen them with a back number on before. So
we look forward to seeing you guys play, and I always, again, thank you for spending a little bit of time with us this evening. I always appreciate you letting me come up there and hang out and watch the guys and talk to Teddy and aggravate him a little bit. So we got to aggravate Teddy a little, and he does a good job. Tell us about a few of you other coaches. Coach Willingham that help you up there. That got some guys I know has been with you for a long time.
Yeah, that makes a lot of difference too. Got a lot of stability. Tanner Nelson's the offensive coordinator, and Chris Conley's the defensive coordinator, and they run the weight room for me.
Tanner was your quarterback, right?
We have junior high. What's that?
Tanner was your quarterback, wasn't he?
He played quarterback for. I came back. I retired for a while, and I came back.
You came back.
He was an 11th grader. He was an 11th grader when I came back, and he played quarterback for him for 2 years. And then he obviously went away to college, but he was a graduate assistant at Jackson State for a couple of years, you know, down there.
That's Tracy Hogan's boy.
That's Tracy Hogan's, yes, stepson.
Okay.
Tracy Hogan's stepson. But and he does a really good job. He's offensive coordinator, and him and Chris Conley do a good job in the weight room. And you know, I left, and when I left and came back, things were different. You know, some things were different, some were better, some were worse, but the weight room was a lot better. And, you know, our kids stay excited in there, and they do a really good job in there, and Tanner does a good job with offense. So, you know, it's good to have him. Like you said, Teddy Helms.
Yeah, I love Teddy.
We moved him to offensive line coach a couple of years ago. Well, last year, actually. This will be his second year to be offensive line coach because Jeff Stanley, he decided not to coach anymore because he coaches soccer.
Okay.
You know, and our soccer team competes for state championship.
Yes, they do.
Year.
Yes, they
so
do.
He has to concentrate more on them, and wanted to concentrate more on them. And you know, I don't blame him for that. So we moved Teddy to offensive line. He does a really good job there. John Tidmore coaches with us, and he's more like an offensive analyst. he helps the offense, but he coaches receivers at practice. And
is he back with you now?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
He coached last year.
Oh, okay, all right.
He's always been. He's been every year I've been there. He's been with me. He's been in the booth. And just came to practice just every once in a while, just enough to know what we're doing. But now, I mean, he's on the staff now. He comes to practice every day, and he goes to workouts every day.
He's my twin. I've actually had somebody introduce me as him. I'm serious. They come up to me and said, "This is John Tidmore." And I'm like, "Really?"
No, I'm Diamond Dean. Don't you know anything?
I don't think we look alike. I'm not knocking him, but I just don't think we look alike. Apparently, everybody else does. So.
Coach Shortt,
He's a really good basketball coach.
He is.
But,
fantastic.
In all honesty, he's a better football coach than he is basketball coach. His demeanor is so good with those kids, and I'm tickled to death that we've got him.
Yes, sir.
And Mike McElrath coaches running backs, and he was a really great player here.
Yep.
He graduated with Donnie Jones. They graduated in 1975, but they had a couple of really good football teams, and he coaches running backs. The kids really love him.
Yeah, I like him.
He's been with you a long time.
Yeah.
He has been with me a long time, and we've got a new coach that moved back, C.J. Jones.
Yes.
Who played here a few years ago.
Yeah, Donnie's grandson.
Donnie's grandson, one of Donnie's grandsons, and he's just moved back, and we're tickled to death to have him.
Good.
He was at Sandrock, right?
He was at Sandrock. He came back. We had a job open up, and he came back to us.
Yeah, I didn't know if I know Coach Little had left.
Coach Little was here. Coach Little was here for about 3 days.
Yeah, I wondered how that. I know I seen him. Up there looking around and talking.
I know exactly what happened, but I'm not going to tell you.
That's fine. Yeah.
I'll tell you sometime. You come.
Yeah, I'll come see. Yeah, I knew he got to go from.
Everybody on the radio don't need to hear this story because I might start talking negative.
I know he left to City Bluff, and I got to meet him and know him over there, and I thought he done a good job over there. But anyway, we appreciate you for coming by and shooting the bull with us, and just some old yak heads and old football lovers. And Coach, we can't wait to see the Collinsville Panthers hit 2023 season on August the 25th, guys. Go over there that night and catch Collinsville play in Pleasant Valley. And then they'll be at Gills on that section. They won't be back home till the 15th of September. What a game that will be. You better get a big tub of popcorn because you don't want to get up like Dean and go wash your hands on the 15th against Pisgah.
With 12 seconds left in the half.
I think that's going to be a barn burner. If you're listening and you're a big-time football follower like 6, 7A, this is going to be a fantastic football game because either one of these teams here are going to be a late round playoff team, and they could wind up meeting again somewhere. Probably, I don't know.
Definitely.
Coach, thank you for your time. We'll let you get off here and get your socks off, and I know you got to get up about 3 o'clock and go whoop Teddy and make him get to workouts.
Teddy's on the beach. What about that?
Oh, that's right. He ain't coming back till tomorrow, I think.
You go at 5 in the afternoon, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he meant y'all went at 5 in the morning.
No, he just needs to whoop Teddy anyway. Teddy needs it. We got to keep an eye on Teddy.
We don't go at 5 in the morning.
No, I don't think anybody goes at 5 in the morning, do they? I've not heard of it. So.
There's a few.
Coach Shortt, Mr. Moore, do you have anything to add here? Coach Wooding?
I've known Teddy for years and couldn't get a better guy to be the coach out there. And like I said, I've always admired the Collinsville team. Just best of luck this season.
Yeah, same here. When I look at your schedule, I mean, again, there's going to be somebody there that may not be in the playoffs that's playoff worthy. Yeah. Just by looking at your schedule, maybe 2 of them. There may be two teams that are playoff worthy that may not even get there this year. So, good luck, especially on your injuries, and hope nobody gets hurt. And good luck in your season.
Thank you, sir.
Coach Willingham, Collinsville Panthers. We'll be seeing you soon. We'll come up and visit. And again, we appreciate you for coming and hang out with us.
All right. I'll talk to y'all later.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Coach.
Coach Ernie Willingham, Collinsville. He's been up there and coached years and took a break for a little bit and stepped away and come back. And he's Collinsville, guys. I mean, if you know high school football up here around this area, Ernie Willingham's just like his Benefield is 5.
Yeah.
Ernie's Collinsville.
Ernie did good at Coach Willingham did good at the Appalachian. He coached there for a while.
Damn snots. Damn.
She's shooting it all over the place.
Coach, he does. Was he there in 20? When I talked to you earlier today, Matt, was he there in 20?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Yeah. He
when they played playing, 5.
Yes. That was a good game.
Yeah. That was at 5 tonight. It was Slayton and
Caleb Jones played.
Yeah. My son went up there and was watching that game, and he was trying to call me, and I couldn't answer because I was doing that game that night for NFHS. I was doing the NFHS game, and I had to let everybody know that it was cold and players were running around and steam coming out of their mouth, and I was freezing to death. But I actually was sitting in a studio in Sylacauga doing a ball game with a pair of shorts and a T-shirt on, but I acted like it was cold. So
you wasn't cold.
No, that's how they do those games in FHS. They don't go on site. They do most of them. The announcers are off site.
So you had to act like you was cold.
Yeah.
I act like I was freezing to death and shivering, but they were a very well coached football team. That's the one thing that I noticed about them that night is, sometimes those well coached teams, they don't win, but they give themselves a chance to win just because they are so well coached.
Right.
Yeah. If they can just keep it close, that's things they do. Because I'm gonna tell you now, Ernie ain't gonna put up no crap. There ain't no bunch of bull drive going on. I promise you, there is not a bunch of bull drive going on with him. His coaching staff, they all been together a while, and he does a good job. He makes good young men into men. I think he teaches them other values than football, and he thinks those values are important. I've heard him, say it several times, being up there around him. I really like Coach Willingham, and I know his brother Jerry. They're just good people,
Well, I just think it's unique that they've got so many young players that are so good.
Man, in the freshman class, you ever see them play baseball?
And I know somebody will be like, well, they've been held back. They're still ninth graders if they've been held back.
I'm telling you.
Starting both ways on a varsity football team.
Hey, Todd.
Yes,
Todd, those people that argue about holding them back, they got that opportunity too if they wanted to.
Well, yeah, I know, but I'm saying, but even if somebody said that would only put them in the ninth grade.
Yeah, I mean,
That'll be interesting. That good in the ninth grade.
It should be interesting to watch and see if they continue doing that there at Piedmont, because they've done a good job of that over the years. That will be interesting to see if they continue to do that.
Hey, well, now, if it's there to do it, you can do it. I mean, and it is allowed. I mean, I don't.
Yes, it's allowed. You just got to have the administration that wants to do it, and you got to talk your parents into doing it more than anything. Where did we get to in the playoffs? We have chased some rabbits here.
Yeah, we have. We got into some 2A stuff here.
We covered
we talked about Highland Home, BB Comer, and we've talked about Fife and Pisgah.
Yeah.
Do we look like it may be a return of these 4 teams here that played the semis?
Yeah, we're in 2A, aren't we?
Yes.
Right.
Could it be a return? The same 4 teams? Could they be back again?
I think they have the capabilities if the injuries don't get them. I mean, the coach even mentioned a while ago, Pisgah has a lot of people coming back. They have a good coaching staff.
They do. It's the same bunch. It's the same bunch of kids that are athletes. They went to Elite 8 in basketball.
Yes.
They did good in baseball. They play very hard.
Yeah, BB Comer took care of Highland Home 44-15, and Fife and Pisgah. I thought it was going to be, I don't know what I was thinking. I thought, well, it'll be a little closer. I favored Fife in it because I'll never, ever bet against Benefield. I just won't. I don't care if he starts all 7th graders. I'm not mine. I'll never go bet against him in that. So we like Fife and Pisgah probably make a run. And in the South, Highland Home, why not?
That was the surprise. That was the surprise last year from the friends I know at Highland Home was how that game got away from them. But Highland Home last year, the year before, they was pretty good. They've got a lot of people coming back. But in that BB Comer game last year, they had 4 turnovers. So that'll get a game away from you in a hurry. But BB Comer, I know they've lost some coaches. I know that too. But they've also got a group of players that felt like – because that game, if you watched that game last year,
they could have won that game.
When they played that game with Fife, it's 28-40, and people think 28-40. I said, guys, that's 12 points. That's 2 touchdowns.
How many turnovers they have? They fumbled one time on their own 8.
They did, and it did eventually there toward the end. You could tell that BB Comer have not played a team like Fife.
Right.
They play a lot of teams. They're going to spread it all over the place and throw it and chunk it around. And it's just different when you have to go play somebody that'll get in a phone booth with you and try to beat you up. And eventually the fourth quarter happens.
How's Lynette going to be?
They're still going to be Lynette. They're going to have athletes. It's just when you go to Lynette, you never know who's going to be eligible until you actually start seeing them play. So a lot of these teams, I have to watch them for about 2 or 3 games in the season. You start, they got those guys. And then I start calling around and saying, do they have the guys they've had in the past? They sure do, because they know how to get there. And they got coaches and they got players and they've been there before. So those are one of those teams that can do it.
Look at this. I'm circling here on the screen. Y'all can see this. I think Aliceville had a couple of younger players last year, so they're going to be back maybe a little more heavier on some junior senior class. So, and they only lost 26-22. Reminder there. And Pisgah, of course, went on and played 5. But hey, this Aliceville team and Southeastern, they've had some runs and also to make some adjustments.
I picked Aliceville actually last year because I knew they were young, and I picked them in that ball game, and they didn't because I think that the running back actually made the difference. But Aliceville's they've been there and done that before, and it's hard to actually call them a northern team or a southern team. I mean, they're right. They're one of those like Coleman. They're on the line. They're
right there close to Utah, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well. And we saw them play a couple of years ago against Spring Garden. We didn't mention Spring Garden earlier. They will be tough 1A.
Yeah, me and Coach O'Brien broke them down because they're going to play. They're like, well, y'all can see. Yeah,
Coach, I'm going to
be at Spring Garden,
and they will announce a coach this week.
Yeah, maybe tomorrow. Maybe.
Let me go ahead and throw something out there when you talk about Spring Garden and Raglan and all them. Don't forget those 2 teams from down on the southern end of that region, because that region spreads out. My goodness gracious, as far as number of counties. Don't forget Wadley and Winterboro.
Yeah,
I watched Winterboro in their spring game against Talladega, and he's got some running backs. He's got his offensive line is about 270, 290, somewhere in there. Their offensive line, and they're playing quite a few players. Quarterback is a prospect. I don't know if it'll be a quarterback in college, but he's about 6'3". He can throw it. They've got some kids that can catch it. I think Coach has got Winterboro in the right direction. So that would be a team that you need to watch out for. And you never know about Wadley. Last year, a lot of people played them up early, but they were playing so many young guys. Right. And they started getting better as the season went along. And my buddy at Wadley says, watch out, we could be as good as we were the year they went there. So that may be one heck of a region.
Yeah.
I'm going back to 2A now, but what about Southeastern?
Yeah, that's where we're looking at. Southeastern, Reeltown, those teams are going to have some guys to come back. So, be looking for Southeastern or that Reeltown team out of the South. Guys,
I'll see Reeltown in a hurry because Cleveland County, everybody on the state line, the Cherokee counties, Cleveland County, people like that play schools from Georgia, we lost those games and you had to reschedule them. You had to find somebody if you even could find somebody. I think Cherokee County found Alexandria. Is that who they found to play?
Yeah, they're going to play. They're going to start the season with Scottsboro. Then they're going to play Alexandria.
Yeah, when Alexandria lost one of their running backs to Anniston. But anyway, I shouldn't even said that. But anyway,
I'd say that's an odd transfer too to me.
But it's public knowledge. Everybody, this is the Miss Media age. There's people they know.
Yeah, and the Cleveland County they lost 2 games. Moody called them and said, look, Coach, we got a team out of Tennessee wants to play us. It's a whole lot better, blah, blah, blah. We're supposed to come to your place, but we're not. Okay, they lost that ball game. Then they lost the Mount Zion game, which is right across the state line. So they're not going to have but 9 games this year, only 4 at home, and they would have been 3, but they picked up Reeltown. Well, that's not just your average little 2A school there in Reeltown. So that's
Mount Zion in Carrollton. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, the one right down across I-20, that Mount Zion.
That's where Coach Knapp, that coaches at Galesville, that's where he played. And, his granddaddy coached at his daddy coached at Mount Zion. His granddaddy coached at Washington County that you were talking about earlier.
Yes, that's right. His daddy, Mr. Knapp, he knows a lot about Ranburne.
Buddy.
Buddy.
He played at Ranburne. Brian played at Mount Zion.
Yes, he played at Mount Zion.
Roy played 13 years at Galesville.
Yeah.
That's what they tell.
Yeah. Well, back in the 30s or 40s, you could play, you could be like 25 and play high school football.
But he did coach at Washington County. But I didn't know Mount Zion's got a pretty good football program.
Yes, they do. Yes.
Moving to 3A here, we got it up on the screen. Y'all can look here.
That's going to be an interesting. Yeah, that's going to be interesting. 3A.
I got Piedmont highlighted. They played Sylvania last year. I'm kind of looking at Sylvania to be a good football team. Let's not forget about them.
I've heard. Yeah, Geraldine too.
Absolutely.
But I know Geraldine wasn't in that semifinal. But
so they lost 27 to 7. You can see right here. Mm-hmm. They lost. They lost to Sylvania, which Sylvania was a good team. So,
Sylvania bringing back a lot. Coach Shortt, have you heard?
Coach Smith told me from Westbrook, don't forget them too.
Yeah.
He told me that Sylvania and Geraldine this year possibly could be as good as they've been. And Plainview has a lot coming back. Their schedule didn't show it last year. But Old Hatchie there, you're looking at some of them teams that were like 1-2 ball games, but they won late in the season.
Right.
I think that region is going to be extra tough. And first of all, you got 2 different coaches. You got a new coach at Piedmont, a new coach at Westbrook. But, man, Coach Smith told me that used to be at Piedmont, I have to say now, Steve, at Westbrook Christian, that his 7th and 8th grade team, that as good as they were, the only 2 real close games they had last year was 2 of them, and that was Westbrook Christian twice. And the facilities, if you get an opportunity, you know how they say if you build it, they will come?
Yep.
Go look at what they're building at Westbrook Christian. No, they're not talking about building it. They're building it. They're putting it up right now. And that's going to be interesting.
I'm going to go.
It's pretty. You need to just drive down there and just walk around. Maybe they won't put you in jail, but just
I'd hate
drive
to get
around
know what the charge would be.
But ask them. But this region has been tough, and Coach Smith, he would always say, always tough, 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 and he'd always win the region. But I think this year could be as tough as it's ever been.
Well, I'm looking over here at this first round, Dadeville. I looked at them pretty good and was expected them. That Thomasville game winds up going 14-15, and Thomasville wins to move on to play St. James. And then, of course, we know St. James goes on and surprisingly beat Mobile Christian. We looked at them early. I remember looking at them early in the season, Mobile Christian, and St. James beats them 35-7. Jeez.
And Mobile Christian has some good linebackers. They've had some to go to Alabama and people like that. St. James's quarterback is back. They've got players.
Those receivers back.
Yes, a couple of them receivers are back.
One of them's gone.
Yeah, they had one to leave, but they had a real young guy also coming back. So it'll be very interesting. It always is in the South. I mean, you never know because there's so many athletes, and then when you start talking about private school, you never know what they may have added to their roster. So it just makes it difficult.
When we were talking about earlier, Thomasville is usually a 4A. Would you not think they would be a heavy favorite in 3A South?
Well, they've been around so many times. They were 4A, 3A, 4A, 3A. So it's kind of like every 2 or 3 years. So it means they're the smallest 4A in the state, and they would be one of the larger 3As in the state. They haven't been quite as good. I know we're looking there. They were in the playoffs there against St. James. But, ever since their head coach, he retired and left. And he moved over to Mississippi. They haven't been as good. They're still good, but they haven't gotten over that hump yet with their new coach. So, they have a chance. They always do because they have such good athletes. They're another school that's real good in football and real good in baseball.
Here's the question then: Is this St. James team that are we're going to probably get to see them in Tuscaloosa this year? Assumingly, we're just assuming.
Well, they got a new head coach. Coach retired after winning the state championship finally, so they've got a new coach also. So now you're taking a guy that hasn't been a head coach, and now he is now. So it just sees how he can. It's one thing to call plays as an offensive coordinator, but now you got to know what your offense is doing, your defense is doing, and you got to be doing 14 fundraisers at the same time. So you got to be able to learn how to manage your time. So that's going to be interesting. St. James. How they handle it with having a new coach. But skill player-wise and talent-wise, they're going to be loaded again. I tell you, there's so many teams down there in 3A that used to be 4A. St. James, Trinity, all them people right there, Montgomery Catholic. What's going to be interesting, not only for this season, but start looking, guys. The first 4 weeks, I think it is, first 5 weeks. Everybody's going to be counting the number of students in their school. Hey, we get not only do we get new SEC football next year, but we also get reclassified. So what these guys are doing right now when school starts, there are some schools right now trying to get their principal to say, don't add anybody. We don't want to move up, or we may want to take some out so we can move down. So it's going to be interesting to see, like Fife, where will they be? Will they be 3 or 2? I mean, you never know. Sandrock, where are they going to be, 2 or 1? That's always interesting because sometimes you can have a great team and your teams come along, you're great, and all of a sudden you get moved up to maybe 2A for 2 years when it could have been your best teams ever in 1A or 3A and 4A.
My son's 10th and 11th grade year, that's when they had reclassified. So we wound up 2A and we had to play 5.
Yeah. I mean, they had good teams, but they couldn't play with
And then that was the year that Ernie and them had at Collinsville. And that was we played them on Thursday night rain game, and it wouldn't matter if it was raining or if the sun been shining at 2:00 in the evening. They were loaded that year.
Marcus got lucky. He got to face North Sand Mountain's best team they've ever had, and Collins.
Yeah, he got to play center of the ball against them. It's like, well, you're a legend, buddy. Hey, you got to play some of the best. So
yeah, he did.
And then Andalusia, for years was 5A, and they were semifinalists in 5A, and then dropped down to 4A last year, and they won.
We're looking at them there on the screen. 29-26, they beat Montgomery to move on, and Cherokee County and Oneonta played out, and I was at that game. Cherokee County, this game here we're looking at November 25th. They just completely controlled the line of scrimmage in that game. That's how that was the winner of that game. They did.
Oh yeah,
offensively and defensively.
Yeah, we were there at that game, Matt. I mean, you were there at the same time. But another score, you had Andalusia beating Montgomery Catholic in the semis 29-26. But the week before in the quarterfinals at Anniston, they're down 28-7. They were down 28-7 and come back and win on a kick punt return after Anniston went for it on 4th down like 3 times inside their own 25-yard line. And that got that game going for them. And Hanley and Montgomery Catholic was 21-14. So it was a gauntlet for those teams in the 4A just to get to the finals.
Oh, yeah. Hanley was great. They might have been better than – they could have possibly been one of the best top 5 teams in the state, but not in the top 5 in their classification.
Oh, you had Hanley, you had Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Hanley, Jacksonville, Anniston, all 3 could have been in the finals if they'd have been north. But that don't matter. But again,
I just circled here. This box right here, all this stuff here. Look at all these teams: Montgomery Catholic, Hanley, and Jacksonville, T.R. Miller. All those teams are great.
Yeah, and of all them teams there, they've all. I'm not sure about Catholic. But the other ones have been in the finals or have won state finals. They've either won it or been there before.
Yeah, of course you got
Catholic.
Oneonta.
Same thing. Oneonta up here. That game, I'm not circling. Oneonta and Dessler. That one right there. You go down. That's the game that surprised me. The Oneonta Dessler. Not that Oneonta beat them, but the score. That's
70 to 30, isn't it?
62-21. I couldn't believe that score.
I couldn't either.
If I'd have bet, I'd have lost that one.
Kevin, how are Asheville and Etowah and all that bunch be?
Well, like I said, Etowah, they've lost some, and they've had, and I'll just have to be careful how I say this. They've got some that are on that were on the roster last year, but they're not this year. But it wasn't because they graduated. I'll just put it that way. And like I said, like you brought up earlier about Oneonta, why would you leave Oneonta for another school?
It's just a popular thing now. Kids just they see it in college, so they move around.
Yeah, Asheville. We've got a new head coach. His name, and if I can pronounce it right, Kariakis Shepard. He was a defensive coordinator for Pell City last year. Mm-hmm. Now, I think they've only got about 30 kids out so far, and 30 kids for a 4A school is not that good. In fact, probably a 3A, that's a low number. So, and it's just, but I was on part of the coaching search committee, and he interviewed well, was very impressed with some of the things he wanted to do. He said he just was very detailed in everything he did. He has a goal of having 17 to 18 players per class. So he'd like to have about 60 to 65 players on the squad once it's said and done. So no matter who, if Nick Saban came in and coached this team this year, would be lucky to win 2 games. So, I'm not expecting. I'm hoping for the best, but I expect the worst. I'm not trying to be pessimistic. I've got full confidence in Coach Shepard, but it's just that he's got a lot to rebuild on this year.
Right.
And Kevin, before I forget, this is not football, but when I ask you why would a certain guy left handling when he was good as a baseball coach, remember?
Yeah.
He got the head job at Opelika.
Yeah.
So that's why he left. So that's why that job came open.
Well,
I got you.
Matt was telling me Randolph had their do it everything.
Yeah, I got this highlighted on here. Let me tell you,
They'll be good.
Well, remember we did a preview on them.
Yeah.
Before these big games got here, when they were like the only team left, Turkey County was. So we would just do it in depth on the team they're playing. And I got here digging off for a few hours. This kid, I don't remember his last name. It's kind of a off kind of last name, but it was like easy to remember. But anyway,
it's different. What is it? Do you know what Coach
What
Shortt?
did he throw for? Was like 5,000 yards.
He had 5,000 yards of total offense, or 4,800, or something like that.
So be aware that this Randolph school, and when you Google the school and go look at it on your Google Maps, wow! I'm just gonna say, wow! It's up there around Huntsville. They have a great program, and they played the center a good game because Turkey County went. It was up there. They had to go to Randolph.
Yeah, they did it. Priceful is good. Will be good too. But I will say this, and I can say this because, like I said, Matt said this is his show, and we're in this county.
Your name's on the show. Say what you want to.
I think center has a great chance to go back.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think any other coach from a 4A North would. If you ask them, would Turkey County have a legit shot to make it back to a semi game? They'd go, yeah, probably so.
Definitely.
Boy, they lost their quarterback and their center.
Right, that's it.
I mean, they lost Jack. Now, Jack was the Wildcat, Kid Lightning, and his energy, interceptions. He made a big interception right after halftime. Was against Etowah game.
That was Aniana, right? Back all the way, didn't it?
A pick six against Aniana.
Yeah, totally changed
the whole game.
I thought they called it back.
They did.
But it still changed. It was very exciting.
Yeah, it just changed the game.
Yeah, they brought it back, but I think they scored the next play.
They did score the next.
Because it wasn't about a 16-yard. Yes, to him. Yes.
Yes.
The thing that when you mentioned Randolph will have to get to the point where they can physically play the game that center wants to play. Yes. A lot of times when you're playing teams that want to keep the ball away from you and they're not looking at getting 80 snaps a game, they may not give you the ball. A 2-touchdown lead for some teams. Put it this way: if Fife gets 2 touchdowns on you, that's almost like having a 28-point lead.
Yes,
because you're not going to get enough snaps. You're not going to get enough possessions.
You're right.
So it's the same way when you play center, especially in the North. You've got to be able to score with them because they're going to score some points. It's just when you look up, you think, well, the first quarter's about over, and they've had the ball for 10 and 14 play drives. When they're playing people and they're scoring real quickly, that's teams that ain't real good. But when they're playing good teams like last year against Etowah, they just kept the ball away from Etowah last year. Matt, you were there.
Yeah,
we'd turn around and Etowah would get it, throw a touchdown pass. Okay, 3-play drive, touchdown.
Yeah.
But then center would get it back and keep the ball for 12 and 14 plays, and next thing you know, at halftime.
Yeah, I'm looking up this boy's name for this Randolph. Was it Driscoll? Randolph football. He's special. Matt was talking about him. And,
I did some digging on him.
It's ridiculous.
5A, I'm going to let y'all talk a little more. I don't it's not a big homage around here, but we don't know about Faith Academy, Charles Henderson, the game that they played, and that Pleasant Grove and Ramsey game come down to the wire. So, do we look for these guys to come back and make another run at it?
Let me give you a couple of these 5A games because I got to go see. I got to see Gulf Shores play Central Clay. Gulf Shores is where Ronnie Royale is at, the guy that used to be at Alexandria, the running back that transferred.
Finally a senior.
He is this year. He's a prospect. He's in the top 50 prospects in the state. See, they got beat. They got beat by Faith. But here's some of the things. Faith Academy was against Charles Henderson, and that was probably the surprise team in 5A this year. Is Charles Henderson coming out of the South? What was a surprise game, and here's why. In the third round, Charles Henderson beat UMS Wright 19-16. Mm-hmm. In the third round and scored on the last play of the game to beat UMS Wright. Well, let's drop down here and look at Pleasant Grove and Ramsey. Pleasant Grove got beat by Ramsey 27-20 in the semis, but Pleasant Grove in the third round beat Arab, the Arabian Nights, 41-38. That was in the third round.
Well, Arab had a good team.
Yes, they did. But, Arab, there was a
best
lot of
team
difference
they've
in the
ever had.
Arab. Yes, you're exactly right. And Ramsey also beat Leeds 27-19 in the third round. So that group in the North, I know Ramsey ended up winning at 41-20, but it probably just proved this year in the North with Ramsey, Pleasant Grove. Ramsey and Pleasant Grove, either one could go back again because Pleasant Grove's been there how many times in the finals, like 3 years in a row, and couldn't get it.
God.
And they didn't make it this time. Yeah, they didn't make it this time.
Is that where Sam Shade coached? No, he coached at Pinson, right?
He's at Pinson. And then, like I said, you got Leeds, you've got Ramsey. There's a bunch of teams right there out of the North that could make it. Faith Academy is one of those. You never know what they're going to have. Those kids are constantly moving because there's a kid from, I'll just say this, there's a kid from Orange Beach that left Orange Beach and has gone back to Spanish Fort. If you know anything about 6A football, Spanish Fort's won a lot of state championships.
Yeah, they're good.
They've always been good. So there's so much movement down there in Mobile and Baldwin County of kids. You never know where they're all going to go. So probably from top to bottom last year, and to keep an eye on it, 5A was probably your best classification as far as the deepest of great teams. Every week was a close game.
Let me tell you what I heard on a Twitter space. I go in there in spaces and guys talk. They're from all over the state and sometimes, different states. But he played at Leeds and he's graduated, I don't know, 20, I think he said like 2012 or something. But anyway, young guy played at Leeds. So he keeps up with the football there and he goes to the games and he knows coaches and whatnot. He says, now that it is his home team there. He says that Leeds is going to be great this year.
Well, they got most of the people back from last year, so they got a good opportunity. But again,
Alexandria will probably be pretty good too. So
if they find a running back,
so they've lost both of them now.
Yeah, this year's last one. They're still going to be always going to be Alexandria. They're going to get after you. They'll be a good football team this year. They always play Leeds well. Guys, it wasn't long ago. Leeds was 3A.
Yes. I know. Yeah. Tell me this right here. This UMS Wright team, you see how close they played Charles Henderson. Charles Henderson, of course, went on and, got to play for it. Didn't play a great game against Ramsey, but Ramsey was great. So this UMS Wright team, they always was kind of thorn in the side of Cherokee County. Remember back in the day,
oh, yeah, definitely.
So is this UMS Wright team is going to be as advertised like they always are, you think?
Yes. When Coach Curtis, excuse me, I said, I go way back with Coach Curtis because he's a thorn in my side too. They beat us in 2001.
He won about 10, didn't he?
Yeah, he got his. Yeah, he moved. He got to UMS Wright in 99, and I took the head job in 98. So yeah, in 2 years he was back, and that was my first as a head coach state championship try. And he's a thorn in my side. Him and Jamie Riggs at T.R. Miller. But UMS Wright, you always got to give them a chance because they're going to be so smart. They're going to always be well coached, and they're going to have some of the best. We talk about they always have great white athletes, and they always got a couple of good black kids that have moved in the skill positions. So they'll always have a chance. Terry's always going to have them ready. And the thing about it is, people always wonder, well, then they moved them up. They moved them up to 5A from 4A. Well, instead of scholarshiping 10 guys, now we'll scholarship 16 guys. So that's how they make it up. That's how they make the difference. They just scholarship more players.
Can Central Clay win 5A?
In the South?
Can they win the whole thing?
They were a lot better last year because they were real young last year. They got even though they lost their running back, but they got some good ones coming back. I watched them in the spring over at Haralson County. It's going to be difficult. They're going to be a great team. They got a great coach, but it's going to be difficult for them to win the state championship coming out of the South. Every time they won it, the 2 years they won it back to back, they came out of the North. And
right.
By coming out of the North, you may not have to beat yourself up as bad to get there. People say, well, they won it. They beat somebody from the South. That's right. But those teams in the South are beating each other to death just to get there.
Right, just to get there.
Yeah.
They only got to play the South 1 week.
1 week, and anything goes in 1 week. So it's going to be interesting. Yeah, they're going to have a chance. They're going to get deeper and deeper. if they're going to win it, I think that this is probably what's going to happen. They'll move back to the north, and next year, not this coming classification, but the next year, they'll have a very good chance of winning it because they're fixing to be real, real good at Central.
Let me ask you about Hartsville. I'm curious about them this year. We're talking about 5A podcast listeners. Again, we got Coach Michael Shortt and Kevin Moore. We've talked to Coach Willingham. He's been on with us, and also Coach Hammond from Valley Head. So again, we thank y'all for stopping by. If y'all are still hanging out on the show, we're about going to wrap it up here. I know everybody's it's going to be a late night, but that's okay. We thank y'all for stopping by. But Hartsville guys, Kevin, Coach Shortt, I'm curious about them. They played a good game with Mount Brook, and Mount Brook moves that offense like we was talking about the other day, Coach. They just move guys. The whole line shifts down. The guard will be the center. I mean, so how they play ball. So how is this Hartsville team? Do they fit back into this equation again?
Oh, Hartsville in
6A.
Yeah. You've jumped to 6A because they played Mountain Brook. They actually played Mountain Brook better than Muscle Shoals did. Yeah. And that's all about matchups as far as Hartsville playing Mountain Brook. Mountain Brook is a team in Coach. Yeah. Well, Kevin should know about that, Coach. He remembers
I'm a big Chris Yeager fan.
Yeah, yep. West Blockton back in the day when the
that was probably the best high school football game I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah, but they're going to do things to make you have to be very cerebral. You got all the shifting and things that they do. And Mountain Brook can beat a lot of schools that got more talent than they do because they're going to out-coach them. Yeah, and just because of what they do scheme-wise on offense, it makes it difficult for some schools to up and beat them. Here's the thing I want to mention to you is 6A South, Saraland.
Yeah,
go look at not only the best player, they've got they got a quarterback, and now we're not talking about the kid from Thompson, the little 8th grader is going to be a 9th grader. I'm talking about 6A football. The quarterback's committed to Texas, the wide receiver's committed to Alabama. Now the defensive lineman is fighting in between, and he's a junior. He's a Texas-Alabama lane. One of those two is where he's going to go. That's just their top 3.
Is it Ryan Williams? Is that his name?
Yeah, that's the Alabama commit, the receiver.
Is he the number 1 ranked player in the state?
No, it depends on which site you're looking at. But yeah, he's a top 5 guy. Yeah, okay. At his position receiver, yes, he is. Okay. And then you got the quarterback that's already committed to Texas.
Wow.
And that's Saraland. If Saraland doesn't get back in the finals, they might ought to be an investigation. So,
they're that good. What about Clay Chalkville?
Well, but before I even go to them, think of this. Last year in the 6A quarterfinals, Homewood versus Saraland, 57-56 Saraland over Homewood in overtime, 57-56. That's how close Saraland was to not getting there. And here's another one. Saraland was that team that they were actually fixing to not even get into playoffs because of an ineligible player, if you remember there.
I remember that.
That almost happened. So everything fell into place for Saraland to win it, but they've got everybody back. The superintendent of schools used to coach with Coach Probst down at Eufaula, and they've got a great school system. It's going to be very tough for somebody to knock off Saraland. Now, you go to the north, you've got Mountain Brook, you've got Clay Chalkville. I tell you, another team that's going to be a sleeper this year. Even though they've lost some, they've gained some. Oxford's getting close to being back in the mix. They'll have a say so. So,
I'm curious about Hartsville. How's this team pan out here? Because I paid attention to them last year. I don't know. I'll get latched on to some teams. This game here was. I don't think the score represents the game because I followed that game closely, this Mountain Brook Hartsville game. 49-30, Mountain Brook took that game, but it was closer, I think, for most of the game.
Well, yeah, Mountain Brook actually scored late to make that last touchdown.
Yes.
So Hartsville's always been a very proud program that's been there in the finals before. They've had places. I mean, they've had some Hall of Fame coaches come through there before too. So Hartsville, you can't ever fall on them. I mean, them, Decatur, all them places up there. I mean, they've got good players. Here's those type of teams: Hartsville, Mountain Brook, people like it. They're also very good in another sport that people don't look at. I always look and see. They're going to say, "Are they good in baseball?" Yeah, that's what I look at, because those baseball players is a lot of times your DBs, your wide receivers, and your pitchers. And those pitchers are quarterbacks. I mean, I love my quarterback to be a pitcher. I mean, I just always have. Hoover used to have some of their better quarterbacks were also great pitchers. And Hartsville's always been that way. So I translate those baseball guys over to football. And it's interesting. They'll always have a chance. But again,
sorry,
go ahead.
Coach.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to ask you and Kevin how the Gadsden area.
Yeah,
6-18.
That's just what I was fixing to do. Yeah.
Kansas City, South Side, that bunch.
Well, that's the group. It's what's scary is, why is Gaston City and Oxford not playing a regular season game? Maybe they will eventually. I hope they get back to playing, or maybe they'll force them all in the same region and they play each other again. I watched Gaston City in a 7-on-7 the other day. Them and Oxford got after each other pretty good. Gaston City's got a lot of linemen. Gaston City probably will never go back to 7A. I think they'll stay in 6, and that's where they need to be.
Yeah,
I think if they stay in 6A, they've got a good chance of being a playoff contending team. Look at Gaston City's schedule. Some of the people that they play, not some of the region games, but some of the teams that they play non-region. When they picked up Carrollton, if you want to see the best quarterback in the country, watch Carrollton play.
Well, he took a lot of heat for that loss last year, but
nobody else around here could have played them.
Well, I mean, that's one of the best teams in the South.
Yeah, and with one of the better quarterbacks in the South. But
and now I'm sure that the people are like, there were people calling for him to be fired after that.
Yeah, I know. But that's just, they don't know what you're talking about. But again, but Gaston City is in a great region for them. Fort Payne, Hazel Green, Buckhorn, Leah, Huntsville, May Jemison. It's going to be interesting. I think they can get into the playoffs, but right now they're probably a second round type team. But I think if they can stay healthy, they can eventually. They're going to have to change classifications again, not classification, but maybe they always get paired up with the Birmingham group first. And that's hard to do. You got to go in there with the Mountain Brooks and Hewitt Trust, Clay Chalkville, and those people. That's hard for them to do.
Their schedule here, September 1st, Gadsden City. They got Hewitt Trustful, Fort Payne at home. They're going to travel to Buckhorn and Hartsville away, Hillcrest away. They'll host Hazel Green. Then they'll have May Jemison at home. Then they'll go to Lee Huntsville and then home against Calera. Looks like the end regular season.
They can have a pretty good season.
I was told that they were playing Carver Montgomery to replace that Carrollton team last year. I'm not sure.
That's what it shows here on Max Press.
Okay.
Yep.
I just wouldn't fool with Carrollton no more.
No.
There's no shame in losing that game.
But here's the reason that game happened. I was told this by somebody that's really close with Gadsden City and what they got going on. That somebody else fell out and he had no other game to play, and they just wound up with that game. And it's just like it just was a had to. You know what I'm saying? Right. His hand was kind of forced because of what happened. So and we just found out,
Well, I will say this: Carrollton probably could have pulled the dogs off just a tad.
Not early in the season, though. Yeah, not early in the season. It's not going to happen.
Well, that's true. I know. But
yeah,
70-7.
Yeah, and the thing about also remember this in Georgia, the way they do their tiebreakers, it's about points. Scored.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna score every point I can because I'm gonna need that as a tiebreaker eventually.
So there really ain't no pulling your starters in Georgia, right?
Well, see, you got to be careful about that. You either pull them or you don't. Or I keep them in there and score a bunch of points, and all of a sudden somebody gets hurt. So you have to really, you have to be careful there and how you go about that. But
I didn't know that. That's interesting.
And the reason they lost the Carrollton game was because everybody on the line, they changed their starting date. So that's why everybody lost the Georgia teams. Cleveland County, Carrollton.
Thompson lost to
Cherokee
Buford.
County. Yeah, the Buford game.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, they don't nobody around here want to play Rockmart this year. I think they may win 2A.
Yep.
Y'all know that the number one quarterback in the country, the guy's going to Georgia from Texas. Supposedly he's going to Buford. He's going to play at Buford this year.
He's already there.
He left the state championship team to go play for another one.
That's nice.
This Carver Montgomery team's got Daphne, Park Cross, and Russell County. I'm just looking at them, Lee, Cedar Grove, Douglas. Those are some big schools there, but that's some Gaston City. Looking over here at the 7A, and I know it kind of goes kind of quick because
same old.
It's always the same teams, right?
Is there any chance we'll put them up here? Is there
Lakers, Celtics?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Is there any chance Hoover gets in this, man? I mean, Kevin
gets in it or wins it?
Yeah, are they going to win it? Does Hoover have a shot to get in there and beat Tom? I just,
Oh, they can beat them early in the year, but they can't beat them. They won't beat them at the end.
Well, I got a question. I'm not trying to top Matt's question or anybody's. Is there any chance that somebody besides these four does not get in the semis?
No. It'd be them.
No chance.
Bob Jones, best. Hey, look, now I ain't going to.
I watched Bob Jones play. I watched him the other day in 7-on-7.
I'm not going to call it, but I'll tell you this. The Vestavia Hoover game, I was at that game.
Yeah, you said Vestavia was pretty good.
Dude,
right?
they have got some guys. They got some corners and some D-backs, safety guys that can play the play. They're going to be good this year.
They got a DB. It's one of the top guys, and they got a DB. It's one of the top ones in the country.
That's the one I seen. I didn't know, but you can tell. Look, I mean, I'm not trying to say I'm a football guru. I don't know none of them kids, but when I watch them play, I'm like, that guy right there is really good. And Bo's like, yeah, he's going to, he's got prospects like, well, golly, man.
He does. He's one of the top 5 DBs in the country.
So there's no chance of it not being Auburn, Thompson, Central Phoenix, and Hoover.
The only team that 7A South. There's not as many of them because people do, there's not as many 7A teams in the South, so they don't have but 4 rounds in the playoffs.
Right.
But Central Phoenix City, in Auburn last year, they swapped it out.
Yeah.
But Enterprise, keep an eye on Enterprise. Their coaching staff that was at Spanish for a while has came back. They were there last year. They're going to be better this year. And I've talked to them. Can you get good enough to beat Auburn and Central Phoenix City? His thing is this: at Enterprise, they'll work their butts off. They'll be extremely well coached, but they may not have as many as they say. They may not have as many dudes as Auburn and Central Phoenix City is going to have, because Auburn and Central Phoenix City are always having people move in, and they're not third team players. They're guys that can make a difference. So they've got to. I don't see it in. I don't see it in the near future of anybody else besides Auburn and Central Phoenix City and Hoover and Thompson. And Hoover's just hanging on. I mean, Hoover is just hanging on.
But they're still in that top 4 every year.
Yeah, they're still going to be in the top 4. But for for Hoover, that's not acceptable. If they're not in the finals and winning it, it's not acceptable. It don't matter. So that's
Who's playing there, Jeff? Jeff said the coach come to Carrollton on the 18th. 8 and 18. They must be having like a preseason week.
No, they start a week earlier, so they play all the way to Christmas.
I wonder who they're going to play.
Yeah, they play. They play in January. They play longer than the NFL playoffs.
Well, they can. They have 2 jamborees. They can play 2, so they can play 2 of those. So yeah, that'd be interesting to see. I've been asked to go over there and watch that quarterback, and that's what I'd like to see. But you know what? If you got a great quarterback, he's not great if you ain't got anybody that can catch it or somebody to block for him.
Juju Lewis, is that his name?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now Thompson, guys, this year, last year's everybody early in the season, they've lost 2. They've lost 2. Yeah, but look who they lost to. I mean,
they did lose 2, like modern day.
Buford, and then they lost to the team out of Tennessee. The guy.
Lipscomb.
Yes, Lipscomb.
Well, yeah, they're one of the best teams in the country.
Yeah, well, that's who they lost to, and people didn't understand that. And they had some young players. I mean, everybody said, they had a young quarterback. Not then, they didn't. He didn't start playing until late in the season. The young kid, the kid that's the 8th grader that'll be a 9th grader this year. I think he's got one more year till he gets the driver's license. So he'll still be, at least this year, he'll be able to come out of middle school and come and practice with him.
So he could actually go get his driver's license with a state championship ring on.
Yes.
Well, he will.
The kid at Thompson's mom has to bring him practice last year.
Yeah, and he's a star.
Yeah, he's been with Nick Saban. He's been to Tuscaloosa.
You know why?
Is it overhyped or is it for real?
No, because his kinfolks are Tua.
Dude,
his kids are Tua and them.
the Thompson kid, go watch him play. Just go turn on some film and go watch the Auburn game. And they put him in. I'm like, how? Because he didn't start the season. Remember, he didn't come in till mid-season.
An injury is when he got to come in about game 6 or 7. Yes,
State championship game, dude. He's dropping dimes. He looks like a senior out there against Auburn. Now that's probably going to be. Everybody's probably going to pick. I assume, am I right? Most people are going to probably pick. They're going to pick Thompson to repeat. Would y'all assume that also?
Yeah,
I'd say so.
I'll say that. I'll go ahead and throw this out there. Repeat, and then we'll see if the coach stays there. That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
Where's Nick's at now?
Central Phoenix City.
He's still at Central Phoenix.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
He's still there. Yeah. He'll be there.
I mean, I thought he was. I just didn't know for.
Let's see what the screen said. Carrollton plays. Air Nolan.
Okay.
What?
Who? Aaron Nolan. Oh, that's probably some school that can beat you 179 to nothing.
One of them schools out of New Jersey or something.
Carrollton special. But, that shows you how good football is in the state of Georgia. They make the state championship game and get beat 70-37.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But that team that beat them is also going to have a kid start for Alabama as a freshman.
Sam Shade is
Caleb Downs
at Miles College.
Oh, I didn't know that Sam Shade was gone.
Yeah, he left last year. Yes.
Mason says Gadsden City will be lucky to be 4A in 5 years. Mason feels like Gadsden City may be having a decline. Is it because of the success from maybe the private schools in the area, or with Coach Glover?
No, just lack of people not moving in, and when people are not moving in, then they don't have families that are having kids that actually will keep it up. They can't get that many kids away from.
I don't think nobody wants them in 4A. I wouldn't think.
Gadsden City.
I wouldn't want to see them in 4A.
I can't see them losing that many. That is a very large amount of kids to lose to drop from 6 to 4. That is a lot of people moving. I know they got some new businesses coming in. Kevin may know about that, but there's not that many. I think where they're going to stay is 6A, and that's where they probably need to stay.
Lord, I hope they don't put Gadsden City in 4A, because they'll put them in there with Ashland. That'll be another one we'd have to lose to.
I'll just be honest with you, and I'm not knocking the 4A teams, but I think Gadsden City would probably win 4A.
Yeah.
Which Etowah's not won it. I thought they would.
I think they could beat Anniston, Hanley,
yes.
Jacksonville.
Gadsden City? Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I do.
Everybody's got their own.
Everybody's got their own opinion.
We don't agree with you, Dane.
Well, now Kevin ain't saying nothing.
Back in the day, Gadsden and Anniston used to have a lot of good classic games. Back when of course, they were all 5A at the time. So,
right.
Well, Anniston's got the most. Everybody, I mean, coaches know they got probably the most talented roster, one of in the state. You just got to be able to get them all together.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I will say this for high school football this year, and we're talking about recruiting, maybe not teams, but you're going to be able to see some of the best football players that we've seen in a long time playing football in Alabama this year, the state of Alabama. And the reason I say that is go and look at Alabama and Auburn's recruiting classes. They're loaded with kids from Alabama this year.
And they're usually not.
And they're usually not because they're not some of the best players in the country. And that's how, especially Alabama, that's how they recruit. They're going to recruit them guys. People say, oh, this kid can play at Alabama. No, he can't. I mean, they don't have but so many that
and
they
it's
can
not
put
an
on
insult.
No, it's not. No.
It's not an insult. You can't play at Alabama. I dare you. I mean, come on.
Or anywhere. I mean, it's just very difficult to less than half of 1% of the kids in the country play college sports. So very few kids get to play college sports.
I hate to be the burden of bad news, and me and Coach Shortt talked about this maybe day before yesterday or so. And I ain't gonna get on this horse and ride it out. And Coach Shortt, we don't have to get on this topic because it aggravates. I think both of us. Tennessee has already passed NIL stuff, and Georgia's voting on it. Florida's fixing to pass it. So that Alabama high school football is what I'm saying is fixing to change. And if they don't get on board and this don't go through, because NIL is not for everybody, and not every kid's going to get an NIL deal. No. But what's going to happen? Some of these big stars, like we were talking about Ronnie Roy a while ago, or the quarterback at Thompson, or a Junkins that left, from Pike Road. they don't stay here and play in the state. They wind up taking a nice little leisurely drive down to a place like IMG or something like that, where those guys can make a little extra. So
hear this. Let's take, you just mentioned Ronnie Royale at Gulf Shores.
Yeah.
It's not very far from Gulf Shores to go across the state line into Florida.
Nope.
If Florida passes the high school NIL, not college, but high school NIL, and Alabama won't do it. If they won't do it, then there'll be some business just across the state line that says, hey, bring your kid over here. We'll give him $400, $500 a month just to walk down here and sit in one of my cars on the car lot and smile.
Yep. Yeah, and they'll just they'll pay your house rent. Say if you get a house that's rents $1,000 a month, like because some of those kids, I ain't gonna say where because it don't matter, but there's kids that are living down there, and they're sharing apartments, right? And they're getting paid for by people. I didn't say where.
It happens. It happens.
I didn't say where. I could be talking about Louisiana. We just talked about Florida, but I'm just saying, guys. That's what's going on. There's stuff out there.
Yes, it is. Yeah,
and I'm afraid that teams like Ernie Willingham, he's not just a good coach. He's a good guy. And those small schools are Coach Knapp, Coach Crane, and from what Coach Howard did over at 1A Spring Garden, those kind of things, those things that we love about high school football, guys, those kind of things, I'm afraid that those type of things could go away. Because you're just going to pile up kids in one box, and then they just going to go play in their own sandbox, and their sandbox is the biggest, nicest sandbox there is. And you have good human beings like the people that I just mentioned that are good to make, not just to make good football players, but make good young boys into good young men and make them men.
It's going to happen, Matt.
I wasn't going to get on my soapbox, and I did. I'm sorry, but
that's fine. And let me
let me ask y'all before we get off here. Do y'all agree with players being able to go and play wherever they want to?
Well, it ain't that.
Well,
it's just
what's going to happen.
Well, I'm just talking about transferring.
What's going to happen? Tennessee's already passed it. Okay.
Right. It'll get worse.
Going to vote on it, and if Georgia's going to vote on it, that means it's going to happen. So once Georgia does it, and Tennessee does it, and we start losing some players like Thompson and Hoover and them start losing players to another state because of this happened, then Alabama will change it. So once Alabama changes and says it's legal to have, NIL in high school, pay a kid $100 to come over here and work for me, then what will happen is the state we will have open enrollment in the whole state. I think we're 5 years away from it.
I wouldn't do it. I mean, who would be in charge of blocking that?
Your state legislators was
okay. I wouldn't do it. I would say no. That ain't coming here. Get out of here. I'm serious.
Yeah, but if Tennessee does it, which they already have, and when Georgia does it, that means Florida's going to do it. Well, the state will be surrounded, and we'll start losing our best players.
Right. I understand that.
If you don't go along with it, then there just won't be there won't be high.
You will have football. You'll just lose a lot of good players.
Yeah. And those guys I've just mentioned, like Royal or the kid at Thompson or the quarterback out of Jacksonville or Fluff, or people around here local.
Yeah, but Tennessee did it because they have to. Tennessee football's not great.
The state is in high school.
No.
Yeah.
Todd, I know a college football coach that was recruiting a quarterback in Nashville. And when and I won't even say the coach, I'm not going to get into that, but he's recruiting, and the kid said, well, what can you pay me to come to your college? He said, well, we're not really in the NIL type thing yet. We don't do it a lot. Eric Clemson. Oh, excuse me. So the kid said, thanks, but no thanks. All right. 2 weeks later, the kid calls this coach back and says, hey, what do I need to do to maybe come to y'all's place? And he said, well, we can talk about it. He said, well, this is what you need to do for me. Now, this is the college kid. A high school kid in 11th grade says, this is what you need to do for me. I'm here in Tennessee, and I got 2 schools here that I'd like to go to. And can you help me get to their schools? Because they're going to pay me about $300,000 to come play football for them. Does that sink into your head?
Oh,
high school football? But you know what? College is changing. It's changed. We might as well get ready. We're going to see high school football change. And if it changes, we can't do nothing about it. We just have to just keep loving it and kind of accept what's going to happen because we can't change it. There's a new day out there.
How did this even happen?
a video game. Honestly, this is where it started. It started.
Yeah, you're right.
EA Sports decided to, we're going to do college football. And then some of the kids got greedy and griping and said, you know what? You're selling my jersey down there in the store. You're selling my jersey for how much? Those Tim Tebow jerseys were going for, $150 a pop. And then you're putting me on a video game, and how much was the total gross income of that first big 2010 or 11 when they had Mark Ingram on EA Sports game, like $40-50 million, and it wound up being $100 million gain.
Oh,
so the kids are saying, well, I see me on the game. That's me. Why can't I get a little piece of that? And that's what started it. That's what got it all going.
People would scream at me, but I'm actually okay with kids making some kind of money if we just got guidelines to go by.
Right.
Yep,
right.
Yeah.
They're making a whole lot of money for these colleges, and these coaches are making a whole lot of money, but just have some guidelines where everybody says, all right, that's the guidelines. This is what we got to do. If you pay them, pay them.
Kind of anarchy right now, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, but where it's people don't talk about it enough, and I did a show on it, is on the girls' side. Girls don't have a lot of professional sports to go to. Girls can make more money playing college basketball than they can going in the WNBA. They can make more doing that.
Sure.
Tell me how that's fair. They can play professional ball and can't make much, but then we can pay them more to do NIL. So the girls are really the ones that miss out.
Yeah.
So NIL for them in the college is great to me.
Well,
they need to get something.
I ain't gonna get on a soapbox neither about this, but I can mention it because the tag up there, I think, does have mine and Todd's name on it. And Tom gonna talk about girls sports being just threatened in general when we have, a man competing in girls sports is a travesty. It's a total slap in the face for equal rights and any kind of thing that women.
Oh yeah, that's another.
That's another 2-hour show.
We work for equal rights and foundations for women that fought to have equality has been thrown all away. Okay, but that's for another day.
I just like the person that said they don't make a difference. I've actually had somebody argue me.
Well, let me tell you something. I'll give you this example.
It didn't matter.
I'll leave this to the people that don't believe me. And we still got a good crowd listening. If you think it don't, go look up a lady named Jackie Joyner-Kersee. She won the Olympics, gold medalist, top of the elite. This lady was super elite, Olympic runner. She would place in the men's. Just go look at the times. Look at what she ran, and then go to the men's time and look at the times for the men. She wouldn't even place hardly in the top 200. Jackie Joyner-Kersee would finish about 200th with the men, and she's the fastest woman to ever live. So that's the end of that. I mean, there ain't nothing else you can say.
Right.
It is what it is.
Yeah, that would be the first thing to start with women's sports. But I think they're taking care of that now, aren't they? Aren't a lot of places?
Yes. Yeah, you have some governors and politicians.
They're taking care of that.
Yep, I hope so.
I just know this. We're getting real close to the best time of the year. High school football is fixing to start.
Yeah.
It's getting
We're talking about August the 24th. Coosa is at Geraldine. That looks like the earliest game. Well, they're going to play what is right on here? The 16th. Coosa's got a.
Yeah, it's just preseason stuff. But still.
But if you want to go watch some football, Coosa Christian.
Well, people are fixing to start practicing. The guys that can practice early, they start that last week of July. So some of these guys are only 2 weeks. Yes.
Yeah.
They're close to starting. Starting practice. But what I've noticed this year, and you don't see it in your small schools, but your larger schools, 3A, 4A, whatever, they've been doing 7-on-7s for a month now. They did it the whole month of June. I mean, those guys aren't slowing down. So, Aaron Olin.
He's a big Ohio State fan. That's Jeff.
Where is Aaron Olin?
He's number 2 in the country.
Oh. Well, heck, Lewis is number 1. So it's 1 versus 2.
Yeah, and this kid that's moved from out west going to play at Buford. I think I heard he's on scene. He is. He's moved into his house this week.
Well, I got one that's even crazier than that. The kid from Florida that is fixing to be a junior in high school.
Yeah, it's going to Ole Miss.
And he's going to Ole Miss because he decided I'm going to bypass my junior year and senior year, and I'm going on and I'm going to make me some NIL money.
Now, Coach, I read this a few days ago on Twitter. That may not be a done deal. Have you? I've seen that there may be a problem with the Ole Miss, so he may not be going there.
Well, if he's got if he's not, he'll find somewhere else because he's already got all the classes because he's not in regular school. He's a homeschool student that
Right.
plays somewhere. So
I
he's
think
already got
word-
his classes.
I think word got out, and I think that somebody else has come along the way and probably offered him.
Well, they also another kid from Ole Miss is transferred. They've already had a guy transfer out.
Yeah.
So, you never know. Hey,
I'd be fine if I never hear the word transfer again. That's even with a transfer truck. I don't want to hear nothing. I don't ever want to hear it again.
Well, it makes it interesting. You don't even know what your team's going to be now. You don't know,
It does make it exciting. I will admit that.
It's going to even out college football, and it's going to keep from teams like everybody that was sick of Alabama and Clemson. Your wishes have come true.
Oh, that's over. I mean, they may still win it.
Georgia is trying to replicate it, but it can't last forever. I mean, they got to find enough that's not in jail from speeding, and then they got to find enough. Alabama used to have them same problems, guys. They had those guys that would get in trouble. Sometimes the better athletes you recruit, you're gonna get a little trouble with it. That's just the way it happens. It's the way it goes.
Coach,
they may win it again. Oh, I don't know.
Tell everybody where they can be able to find you at come fall.
Yes, I have the privilege of working with John Holder, who used to be with the old Pigskin Roundup, but he started his own show. And we do it every Friday night. We have a scoreboard show, and we have highlights. We have all the scores from around Northeast Alabama. As a playoff start, we cover the whole state. We have highlights. We have game analysis. Most of the people will send me stats, a.k.a. thank you, Kevin Moore. And I could get those stats out to people even before the newspaper. So you can find us at high school football.
We don't mind sharing stats to cover for the kids.
High School Football Alabama after the game on Facebook and YouTube. It can be live streamed. So we end up usually getting around 1,500, 2,000 views a night, and sometimes even more than that. I'm talking about just from Facebook. So it's a great way to get your scores and to hear about some of the highlights that are going on. And we do a lot of video. Going to be some changes this year as far as some of the people that will be on the show. We lost Gerhard Mathangani last year down in Mobile. Yeah. But I can't release on who that person will be, but it's going to be a good one, and people will be surprised. So that's how you can find us on Friday nights.
Yeah, we can't wait for that. Neither. John Holder, the GOAT of all Alabama Pigskin Round. And they're I'm not going to say what it is, but they're going to bring back a special part of the show that used to be part of Pigskin Roundup that I always enjoyed. I'll let you announce it if you can. If you can't, then don't. But maybe if you want to save it, then you can.
I'll have to save it. I can't say it yet.
But it's going to be really interesting. I'll share with you, Dean, off air. Kevin Moore, the legend from Etowah County area, has been in radio and been around and done all kind of stuff around everywhere. Has Kevin's Corner. He's going to be usually does what he said Thursday, Friday night. Tell them where they can find you at on there come season.
Yeah, if you just do a Facebook search for Kevin's Corner, or you can go to my Facebook page, facebook.com/Kevin Moore Music, which I am a musician, but I love football, and basically I just do it for fun to predict high school football games and just talk and preview the week's game and certain aspects of the game. So, and I'm one of these little nerds that has little useless knowledge trivia about certain games during the week. So. But like, for example, Coach Shortt, guess who, Mountain Brook High School, we're talking about Coach Yeager, who he has on his staff?
Well, he also, he has one of my former quarterbacks, Brad Easley, who used to be at Clay Chalkwell.
Yeah. And
Thompson.
Charlie Pell, who used to be the quarterback used to be the coach at Jacksonville State, Florida. His grandson's on the staff.
Yeah, his grandson. Yes.
But like I said, I just appreciate Matt and Todd having me on the show this week. So
yeah, man, bro.
And I don't know if y'all have heard Kevin before, but man, he can do the national anthem as good as anybody around.
Oh, absolutely.
So we need to try to get him with the state doing before the state finals, the Super 7. Yeah. You need to be playing out there out loud. They need to figure out somehow how to get you down there to play that.
Hey, if you could make that happen, I'd buy your lunch for a month.
Whoa! Actually, I'll see what I can do there, Kevin.
Do I now?
I'll see what I can do. I ain't got no pull with them. I just want to try and get these free lunches.
You got to get R. Ingram at AHSA. He would probably be a guy you probably want to talk to.
And it's funny talking about, Coach O has got me coming out there to play the anthem for their game with Pearl City, which I'm still trying to figure out how he got rush to come up there to do that, because that's going to be a heck of a, even if it's jamboree, it's just going to be a heck of a game. It's going to be a fun event for everybody. So
yeah, them and Aberville will be there. Pell City, they're going to split halves. Pell City, Aberville, and Coosa. So y'all go check them out on 16th. And thank y'all guys for coming and hanging out with us tonight. It's show number 196. It is in the books, and we do appreciate everybody for coming by. We could not definitely do it without none of our fans. But guys, we still got to get people on watching that. So y'all come back and hang out with us next week, where we will be diving back into some college stuff, probably SEC, picking out 2 teams, and going over some of that stuff. Again, we appreciate you and we love you. Keep your heads clear and your hearts full of God. That's always important.
Amen.
Carry your umbrella with you maybe tomorrow sometime.
It's supposed to rain.
Who knows? It will every afternoon. So
it's raining right here like cats and dogs right now.
Okay. See there? There it is. Coach Shortt and Kevin Moore, we're headed out. Show 196. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate you. Thanks for having me on.
Enjoyed it, guys.